I have feelings for my little uncle. For his sake, I refused the arranged marriage with my childhood sweetheart, but all he said was, like you, do you think I'm a beast? I'm your little uncle, I asked him, but we don't have any blood relationship. He sneered coldly and retorted, do I really have to say it straight out that I don't like you at all? Later, I died in a car accident on the day he got engaged to someone else. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my childhood sweetheart proposed the arranged marriage. In full view of everyone, I nodded and agreed. The man who was always nonchalant suddenly went crazy. 1. Marriage is a big deal. Coincidentally, Mian Mian's little uncle has returned from abroad and will be here soon. Let's also hear his opinion. Upon hearing this, I immediately looked up at my grandmother. Ji Yanli has returned to the country ahead of schedule. In my previous life, I remembered it very clearly. My grandmother just called to ask for Ji Yanli's opinion, and that man refused in the cold tone I was most familiar with. I can't get away from the branch company in Luxembourg. I can't come back. It has nothing to do with me whom she marries. But this time, why is it different from the previous life? The next second, the sound of the private room door opening pulled my thoughts back. I looked up and met the gaze of the travel-worn man at the door from a distance. 2. Yanli. What do you think about Mian Mian's marriage with the Song family? Probably not wanting to hear Ji Yanli's harsh sarcasm again, I directly took over my grandmother's words. Grandma, I'm already an adult. I can make my own decisions about such things. The man opposite snorted and smiled, tapping the tabletop casually with his fingertips, then let her tell us her thoughts. Under the eyes of everyone, I took a deep breath. My tone was solemn. I'm willing to marry brother Songyu. Songyu is my childhood sweetheart whom I've grown up with. As soon as I finished speaking, the sound of tapping on the table stopped immediately. Ji Yanli stared at me without blinking. Grandma's voice sounded at the right moment. Since you also like your brother Songyu, then Grandma doesn't have much else to say. I ignored Ji Yanli's gaze and nodded at Grandma and the others. Brother Songyu just sent me a message saying he's waiting for me at the door, so I'll be leaving now. Stop. Ji Yanli, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke, ignoring the strange looks from others. He walked straight up to me. He looked down at me. Do you like him that you want to marry him? My voice was very calm. It doesn't matter whether I like him or not now, little uncle, even if I don't have feelings for him now. We have a lifetime to cultivate them. After all, we'll be husband and wife soon. Ji Yanli looked at me with a dangerous tone. What did you call me? In the past, when I liked Ji Yanli, I always called him by his full name. This was the first time I called him little uncle. He was so angry that he laughed, and without asking for anyone's opinion, he directly pulled me away in front of others. Let go of me. I was pulled all the way to the parking lot by Ji Yanli. Ji Yanli sneered, his hand gripping tightly. Let you go to find your little fiancé. I just felt it was unintelligible. Even if so, it has nothing to do with you, little uncle. I deliberately emphasized the last few words. Upon hearing this, Ji Yanli really stopped. His jaw was tense. He lit a cigarette, seemingly to calm down. Either you get in the car with me and talk now, or I'll go talk to your brother Songyu directly. I don't know if it's an illusion, but I always feel that Ji Yanli has a much worse temper this time. In the end, I still got into Ji Yanli's car. 3. You can't marry Songyu. Ji Yanli looked at the steering wheel, his tone broking no argument. I smiled and was about to retort, then the car window on the driver's side was knocked. This was a public parking lot, and there was a large shopping mall above. Brother Yanli, are you also here to go shopping in the mall? The delicate woman in front of us was Ji Yanli's fiancé in his previous life, Ningxi, but at this time in this life, she hadn't met me yet. The woman's gaze passed over Ji Yanli and she looked at me hesitantly. Who is this? I looked at her calmly and smiled. This is my little uncle. Sister, do you want to have a private chat with my little uncle? Then I'll leave now. As I said this, I started to unbuckle my seatbelt. Ningxi's cheeks turned slightly red. Thank you. Ji Yanli's abnormal behavior just now made me feel dazed for a moment, but the appearance of Ningxi immediately brought me back to reality. This was the destined female lead in Ji Yanli's life. Who said you could leave? Ji Yanli stopped my movement with a half-smile. I instinctively looked up, but my vision spun around. I was held and sat on Ji Yanli's lap. He raised his hand and stroked my side face, his warm palm stroking all the way down to my chin. There was a lazy smile on his face. What's this? Playing the roles of uncle and niece. The man lowered his head and leaned closer to me, his breath spraying on my chin. His deep voice was particularly ambiguous at this moment. Little niece, how come I didn't know you had this kind of hobby? I was completely stunned, my mind going blank, unable to respond. I let Ji Yanli talk nonsense. he finally looked up at Ningxi, who was frozen outside the window. Miss Ning, do you have something to talk to me about? Does it have to be now? I'm not really convenient. After saying this, he held me and adjusted the seat backward, the hint being very obvious. Ningxi took 2 steps back with a pale face. Brother Yanli, how can you hold another woman? Don't you know that I like you? Ji Yanli turned his head and sneered. He seemed to think what she said was absurd. Listen, Ningxi, your liking me has nothing to do with me at all. Stop hovering around me like a fly, please. He deliberately emphasized the word please, and his repulsion towards Ningxi was clearly shown. I slowly came back to my senses. This was very wrong. Even if Ji Yanli disliked a woman, he had never made her so embarrassed in public. What's more, it was his fiancée whom he was engaged to in his previous life. While I was still thinking about it, Ningxi had already run away with tears in her eyes. Little uncle, can you let me go now? I just regarded him as using me as a shield. Ji Yanli's phone rang at this moment. Instead of letting me go, he held me even tighter. He used his other hand to answer the phone. Grandma's voice came from the other side. Yanli, what's the situation between you and Mian Mian? Where did you take her? Ji Yanli didn't answer in a hurry. Instead, he glanced at me and raised one eyebrow slightly. What did you just say? You want to get off my lap? I immediately held my breath and shook my head at him repeatedly, signaling him not to say anything. Grandma on the other end of the phone didn't hear clearly. What did you say? Ji Yanli didn't speak, just looked at me leisurely. I closed my eyes, and had to grit my teeth and lean against his neck. Ji Yanli immediately hugged me back. It's nothing, Mom. Ji Yanli and I have some personal matters to sort out. Grandma didn't ask any more questions. She just gave a few words of advice and then hung up the phone. The air in the car suddenly became silent. Ji Yanli stopped my movement of moving away. He leaned close to my ear. This is the reason why you can't marry Song Yu. I slightly raised my head and looked into his eyes. But you said it yourself that you don't like me at all. Ji Yanli turned his head and clicked his tongue. I didn't say such nonsense. He clearly said it. I won't believe him. I climbed back to the passenger seat huffing and puffing and was about to get out of the car, but the next second, he directly started the car. 4. I leaned against the edge of the car window, counting the cars that whizzed by in boredom. I was also deep in thought, recalling Ji Yanli's abnormal behavior. Suddenly, the car was slammed to a stop. I leaned forward due to inertia. There was a black Kian blocking the way in front of us. Song Yu got out of the car. His face was cold and serious. Mian Mian, get out. I'll take you back. I instinctively glanced at Ji Yanli. He casually tapped the steering wheel with his fingertips, looking at the boy in front of him with great interest. Did you call him here? No, for no reason. I felt a sense of low pressure. He lit a cigarette, and with a vague smile on his face, he said, your little fiancé has chased after you. I can't just pretend not to see it. After saying this, he stepped out of the car and locked the car door behind him. In the cold evening wind, the two men stood facing each other. Please let Mian Mian out of the car. I won't let her go. What are you going to do about it? Song Yu stopped arguing and directly walked towards the passenger seat, but the moment he got close, Ji Yanli grabbed his arm. Song Yu was slightly shorter than Ji Yanli. He quickly fell into a disadvantage. He was pushed around by Ji Yanli and slammed onto the front cover of his Kian. Ji Yanli's hand was around his neck. What do you want to do to Mian Mian? Song Yu managed to say. Ji Yanli unhurriedly flicked the ash off his cigarette with his other hand and crushed the cigarette butt on the car. Maybe I didn't make myself clear before. Stay away from her. This is my last warning to you. She's mine. She belongs to herself. Song Yu spat out the words one by one. Ji Yanli laughed softly and increased the strength in his hand. I finally found the spare key in the car, opened the door, and ran over in a hurry. Little uncle, let him go, I said as I tried to pull his hand away, but the man didn't move at all. Song Yu was already on the verge of death, in a rush. I had to bite Ji Yanli's wrist. He finally let go. I quickly helped Song Yu up. Do you really feel sorry for him that much? Behind me came Ji Yanli's emotionless voice. I'm also injured. Can't you see it? I stopped moving. As soon as I turned around, he picked me up forcefully and threw me onto the back seat of the car. He also got into the car. Just as he was about to start the car, I struggled desperately. What are you doing, Ji Yanli? Didn't you see that Song Yu is already? The man stepped on the gas, and the car roared softly. He held the steering wheel with one hand and smiled lazily. Do you believe that if you mention him one more time, I'll drive over and kill him? Through the rearview mirror, I met Ji Yanli's gaze. My hand clenched the cushion tightly in the dark. Ji Yanli, killing people is against the law. Are you ignorant of the law? Ji Yanli leaned leisurely against the backrest, his eyes playful. You're right. So I'm going to run over his legs. What do you think? The Song family doesn't have only one son, moreover, it's Song Yu's father who is begging me for the project now. Do you think the Song family wants a project that can firmly establish their position in the business world, or do they want their son's two legs? He laid out the pros and cons in front of me, forcing me to make a choice. I couldn't just ignore Song Yu. In my previous life, when everyone accused me of not being supposed to like Ji Yanli and being shameless, it was Song Yu who protected me time and time again. Little uncle, I'm sorry, in this battle without any cards, I had to admit defeat and show weakness. Ji Yanli didn't move, and the front of the car was still facing Song Yu. Okay, so what should you do in the future? I lowered my eyes and my voice was very soft. I won't contact him again. Ji Yanli's voice softened a bit. Sit back in the front. I did as he said. The man leaned over to fasten my seat belt for me, and his fingertips rubbed my earlobe. So good. Ji Yanli finally turned the car around and left. I held the seatbelt tightly and looked straight ahead. It was as if I didn't hear Song Yu shouting my name behind me at all. 5. I was taken back to Ji Yanli's villa in the suburbs by him. I stood numbly in the entrance hall, watching him walk to the wine cabinet and drink up the whiskey in the glass in one gulp. He looked up at me while holding an ice cube in his mouth. Why are you unhappy? The sound of him biting the ice cube, accompanied by his casual steps, made me shiver involuntarily. Ji Yanli stopped in front of me and stared into my eyes. Is it because of Song Yu? What exactly do you want? There was still a trace of a crying tone in my voice. Tong Mian, don't play dumb with me. I sniffled. Ji Yanli, if you like me, why do you still force me to do so many things? Ji Yanli didn't think there was anything wrong with that. He gently rubbed my head. Because you're not obedient enough. All the words I wanted to refute got stuck in my throat. When Grandma called Ji Yanli again, I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Finally, the only person who could save me had come. Yanli, when will you come over? We need to discuss Mian Mian's marriage. Ji Yanli looked at me with drooping eyelids, his tone indifferent. I almost forgot. What? Tong Mian's wedding is cancelled. My eyes widened instantly. Grandma was also puzzled on the other end. Why? I had a bad feeling. Ji Yanli looked at me. But he was speaking into the phone. He drawled, but his tone was beyond dispute. Because she's going to marry me, you'd better not interfere in our business. After saying this, he hung up the phone. Ji Yanli, are you crazy? I felt like I was on the verge of a breakdown. What nonsense did you talk to Grandma? Are you trying to force me to death? Ji Yanli threw his phone on the coffee table, picked me up, and then pressed me onto the sofa the next second. We were so close that I could hear his breathing. Didn't you say that? You like me and only want to marry me. I couldn't break free, so I simply turned my head slightly to the side. That was in the past. Ji Yanli held my chin, forcing me to look at him. Then like me again, Tong Mian, as long as you stay by my side obediently, I can wait. His gaze moved down to the side of my neck. He leaned closer. The next second, I felt a kiss on the side of my neck. My body tensed up involuntarily. Ji Yanli seemed to be getting even closer. Don't. I tried to find my voice. The man stopped his movement. After a while, he propped himself up with his arm and moved away a bit, hovering above me. Little uncle, can you let me go? Ji Yanli was still smiling, but his eyes were filled with coldness. He placed his fingertips on my lips and gently rubbed them. The meaning was obvious. The remaining words were stiffly swallowed back by me. When Ji Yanli still maintained that posture, the door at the side and rear was suddenly pushed open. A ray of light poured in, and I squinted my eyes due to the glare. What are you doing? Ningxi stood at the door with her eyes wide open in anger. Ji Yanli's expression instantly darkened, and he stood up. Were you following me? Would I have seen this scene if I hadn't followed you? The veins on her forehead were clearly bulging. She seduced you, didn't she? Brother Yanli, tell me, it's like that, isn't it? There was a hint of madness in Ningxi's eyes. Ji Yanli didn't say anything. He picked up his phone and called the security guard. Taking advantage of this gap, Ningxi suddenly strode over. Before I could react, she took out the eyebrow trimmer that she had hidden in her hand and slashed towards my face. There was no time to dodge, so I instinctively closed my eyes tightly, but I didn't feel the pain I had expected. Brother Yanli, I opened my eyes. Ji Yanli's arm was in front of me. Bright red blood dripped drop by drop along the wound onto my pants, spreading out. Ji Yanli didn't pause. He directly bent Ningxi's arm inward. The eyebrow trimmer in his hand was pointed directly at her own neck. Why are you so cheap? A few hours ago, I just rejected you, and now you're sticking to me again. Is it my fault that I like you? Ningxi was forced to take step by step backward, and even a bloody mark had been pressed out on her neck by the blade. You'll soon know if it's wrong or not. Ji Yanli let out a soft laugh and threw Ningxi away. I heard the approaching sound of footsteps. The security guards arrived and took Ningxi away while apologizing. She was in a sorry state. But she was still crying and looking at Ji Yanli. Were you scared? Ji Yanli put away his usual carefree attitude and was rarely serious. Did she touch you? I stared blankly at the man who was crouching in front of me, looking rather nervous. I spoke slowly. You're the one who's injured. It seemed that he only noticed his wound at this moment. Half an hour later, the doctor left after bandaging the wound. I opened my mouth. With mixed emotions. Thank you, little uncle. Ji Yanli was not affected by the wound at all. He took out a cigarette and bit it. There was a slight mocking smile in his voice. You already hate me enough. If you got injured because of me, you'd probably hate me to death, wouldn't you? How could I give you that chance? I ignored his awkward words that were the opposite of what he really meant. I just stared at the bandaged part of his wound and remembered a lot of things. I initially fell in love with Ji Yanli just because he was kind to me. When I was blocked by hooligans in high school and they tried to give me love letters, Ji Yanli specifically staked them out for a week. After finding them, he gave them a good lesson. When my university supervisor replaced my scholarship quota with someone else's, Ji Yanli didn't say something like, "It's not much money anyway, I'll give you 10 times that amount." Instead, he seriously helped me get back my justice and the scholarship. The atmosphere was unexpectedly relaxed. I was just about to take the opportunity to persuade him to let me go. I accidentally glanced at the phone on the coffee table that kept flashing, indicating that a message had come in. When I picked it up and opened it, I suddenly froze. Song Yu, Mian, I just got home and fixed my phone. Are you okay, Song Yu? Ji Yanli just announced the news that you two are getting married. Are you being forced? Ji Yanli had already announced it. I thought it was just something he casually said to dismiss grandma. I mechanically looked at the man who was playing with his phone. Ji Yanli, what are you doing? He didn't even look up and replied casually, contacting the wedding planner. When did I agree to marry you? The white light from the screen shone on the man's face. He stopped his movement. It was not until the phone automatically turned off the screen that Ji Yanli threw away the phone and walked towards me. Ever since you agreed to the arranged marriage with Song Yu today, I've been very impatient. Don't provoke me anymore. Tong Mian, there are only the two of us in this house. You don't want me to move things forward so quickly, do you? Under his gentle tone was the most deadly warning to me. I think, probably from that moment on, the last bit of my concern for him was completely exhausted. 7. On the 15th day since I moved in, Ji Yanli came back during working hours. I'm free today. I'll take you to try on wedding dresses. I just ignored the man's words. I hugged my knees and curled up on the sofa, staring blankly at the TV in front of me. During these 15 days, Ji Yanli didn't even lock the door when he went to the company, and he didn't ask the bodyguards to keep watch. He was certain that I didn't dare to run away. In the silent confrontation, Ji Yanli's eyes became darker and darker. Finally, he directly picked me up and put me in the passenger seat. Ji Yanli. Is this interesting? He stopped the action of buckling my seatbelt and looked up. I don't like you, and I won't give you any response. Is it interesting for you to perform a monologue all by yourself? Ji Yanli lowered his eyes and smiled softly. It's not interesting. So if you continue to look so listless, click. The seatbelt was fastened, and he raised his hand and gently patted my side face. I'll bring your brother Song Yu over to amuse me. How about that? This was the so-called like in Ji Yanli's words, an obsessive and pathological possessiveness. He would always only threaten me to make me yield. The car was driving steadily, and I turned my head towards the window. The quiet atmosphere was suddenly broken by a harsh screech of brakes. I was startled for a moment. I turned my head back and just met Ji Yanli's distracted gaze. Can't you drive? Get lost if you can't drive. The car that stopped on the side in front was a dazzling green McLaren. And the owner cursed and turned around and left. A dense chill immediately crept up my spine. The car that caused the accident in which I died unexpectedly in my previous life was a McLaren of the same color. I had originally thought that Ji Yanli's sudden and abnormal behavior was due to the butterfly effect caused by my agreement to the arranged marriage with Song Yu in this life. But now, I have a bold guess. Mian. Ji Yanli leaned over and hugged me tightly in his arms. I could feel his fear. I closed my eyes slightly and then spoke softly. Ji Yanli, you actually remember everything, don't you? I wasn't the only one who was reborn. He clearly paused for a moment, then he hugged me even tighter. His voice was hoarse. Almost every night, I'm awakened by nightmares. When I rushed there in the dream, You were still stuck in the driver's seat. They stopped me and wouldn't let me go to you, until the car exploded. They still didn't rescue you. I just watched helplessly. I felt a little wetness in the crook of my neck. They were Ji Yanli's tears. You were engulfed by the fire in front of me, leaving nothing behind. 8. I think. Maybe I shouldn't have exposed the fact that he was reborn. Ji Yanli had already guessed that I was reborn a long time ago. I lifted the last layer of the half-hidden veil between us. And what awaited me would be an even more terrifying Ji Yanli. You've always been blaming me, haven't you? Ji Yanli pressed his hands on my shoulders, and the last bit of reason in his eyes was on the verge of collapse. He told me that in the past, he thought it was wrong for me to like him, that it was against morality. He got engaged to Ningxi in order to force me to back down. In fact, he had already fallen in love with me. I sighed. Whether you feel guilty or you've really fallen in love with me, it doesn't matter anymore. Ji Yanli. I met his gaze, and without being petty, I said word by word, the point is, I really don't like you anymore. When I see you, I don't feel the slightest bit of excitement. When you confess to me and say you want to marry me, it just makes me more disgusted. Really. The next second, a sharp pain came from my shoulder. It was Ji Yanli exerting force. Then tell me what to do, Tong Mian. I got a chance to start over. How can I let go? He wouldn't listen to anything. I was so irritable and depressed that I couldn't catch my breath. The matter of trying on wedding dresses was forced to be terminated. Ji Yanli took me back to the villa in silence all the way. He went straight to the wine cabinet and took sip after sip. After drinking about 4 or 5 glasses, he finally calmed down a bit. I knew that Ji Yanli, who was emotionally unstable at the moment, was the most untouchable. But Song Yu ran into this situation. Boss, a person was caught outside the villa. He seems to have been trying to climb over the wall to get in. Bring him in. Song Yu was pushed in by the bodyguards. My breath involuntarily quickened, and I shuddered. Ji Yanli had no expression on his face, but there was a violent aura in his eyes, as if a storm was about to come. Little uncle, please don't hurt him. Before I could finish speaking, I was silenced by the wine bottle that was smashed in front of Song Yu. What did you promise me? I quickly shook my head. I didn't call him. I really didn't contact him. Song Yu stood in front of me with a solemn face. It has nothing to do with Mian Mian. I came here on my own to take her away. Is that so? The corner of Ji Yanli's mouth curved into an arc, showing a hint of insolence. Who do you think you are to want to take her away? She doesn't want to stay here. She's not happy staying by your side. Even if I'm nothing, I will do my best to take her away. Ji Yanli leaned against the wine cabinet obliquely and clapped his hands symbolically. How great. After making the comment, he looked at me teasingly. Are you touched? I blinked my eyes and tried hard to swallow back the choking feeling. No, don't listen to him. I don't want to leave here. I was almost begging. Let him go. Okay. I don't want to see you hit someone. I'm scared. Ji Yanli walked over slowly and sat me on the sofa with his arm around me. Don't be afraid. I won't do it myself. I didn't relax easily. Ji Yanli, let her go. Song Yu was pressed on the shoulders by the bodyguards and growled. Ji Yanli raised his eyebrows, leaned close to my ear suggestively, and asked in a low voice, do you like him? No, I don't like him. I immediately denied it. I wasn't deliberately lying to appease Ji Yanli. I really only regarded Song Yu as my brother. I agreed to the arranged marriage just to repay Grandma for her kindness in adopting me. Ji Yanli stared into my eyes scrutinizingly. After a while, he seemed to believe me and nodded. Then do you like me? I only hesitated for a second, and Ji Yanli's face turned cold. Yes, I answered while crying. I like you. Ji Yanli gently wiped my tears. Why are you crying? He pinched my chin and lifted it up. If you like me, you won't try to avoid me, right? The wine droplets splashed on the man's collar evaporated in the air. I couldn't help but grab the cuff of his sleeve, not daring to use much force, a few centimeters before touching. Beast, are you trying to force her to death? Song Yu couldn't bear it anymore. Come at me directly. Why are you threatening her? Ji Yanli stopped and let me go. He pretended to be in a difficult situation and gave a soft sneer. Tong Mian, look, it's not that I'm not keeping my promise. It's your brother Song Yu who keeps courting death again and again. Ji Yanli walked over, grabbed the back of Song Yu's neck, and forced him to lower his head. How much ability do you have to show off? As he spoke, he pressed Song Yu's neck down. His face was getting closer and closer to the broken pieces of the wine bottle on the floor. Ji Yanli, if you don't kill me today, I will come again to save Mian Mian. I held the phone and shouted out in a breakdown. Ji Yanli, don't touch him anymore. You're violently beating others in a group. If you take another action, I'll call the police. Not pretending anymore. Ji Yanli still had that calm and confident attitude. He raised his chin. Go ahead and call. What do you mean by violent group beating? He broke into a private residence. I'm just defending myself. Ji Yanli squatted in front of Song Yu and casually picked up a piece of glass shard. You can try and see who the people's police will take away when they come. My face gradually turned pale, and I let my hand drop feebly. The phone fell to the ground accordingly. Ji Yanli played with the piece of glass shard in his hand. I nervously followed his hand with my gaze, afraid that he would stab Song Yu with it. He smiled meaninglessly. As for you, don't keep talking about killing people. Do you understand the law? Here's what we'll do. He looked at the glass shard and then at Song Yu. If you swallow it, I won't pursue this matter today. How about it? Or I'll have someone force your mouth open and stuff all these pieces in, and then send you to the hospital for gastric lavage. Sweat dripped from the black hair on Song Yu's forehead and landed on the ground. After a period of resistance, he had no strength left. I forced myself to hold back the weakness in my legs and walked over to Ji Yanli. I barely managed a smile and hugged his waist. Stop making trouble. Okay, I'll be obedient and listen to you from now on. Weren't you going to take me to choose a dress? Let's go. You can help me choose. And I'll help you choose. Okay. Behind me came Song Yu's horse crying, Mian Mian, don't bow down to him. I seemed not to hear him and just buried my head in the crook of Ji Yanli's neck. He's so noisy. Throw him out. Ji Yanli was like caressing a docile pet, casually stroking the back of my head. Why are you being so obedient all of a sudden? Weren't you still threatening to call the police? I was wrong. I overestimated my abilities. Ji Yanli's hand moved down and rubbed my ear. Mian Mian, since we're going to act, we might as well do it thoroughly, he said in a voice that only the two of us could hear. Then he turned my body around to face Song Yu. Tell him, are you willing to marry me voluntarily? I knew that my bitter smile must look very ugly at this moment. But Ji Yanli behind me was like a gun pointed at my head. Song Yu, I really want to marry Ji Yanli. Please don't bother us anymore. It really bothers me. Song Yu opened his mouth with difficulty but couldn't say a word. The sadness in his eyes was about to overflow. I'm sorry. He was apologizing for not being able to take me away and forcing me to agree to marry Ji Yanli. Song Yu was sent away, and it was as if all my strength had been drained from me. I knelt and sat on the carpet, motionless. I didn't lay a finger on that idiot. What are you still dissatisfied with? Ji Yanli stood in front of me, looking down at me. I replied feebly, nothing. I'm very satisfied. He bent down and picked me up, carrying me towards my room. He's just a useless coward. That car accident wasn't an accident. It was man-made. I looked up. Ningxi ordered someone to do it, he added in a cold voice. When he found out, he didn't do anything. He just kept crying in front of your tombstone. I stared at him in a daze, and my intuition led me to ask, what about you? Ji Yanli stopped in his tracks, and his black eyes looking at me were bottomless. I killed her. I instantly lost all ability to think. Ji Yanli's eyes were dark and gloomy. She planned everything, just to make me watch you die in front of me on the spot. Should such a bitch die, in this life? Ji Yanli's extraordinary hatred for Ningxi could now be explained. I suddenly remembered the last words Ji Yanli said to Ningxi at that time, so, I paused for a moment before asking softly, what's happening to Ningxi now? Ji Yanli's tone was light, as if he was talking about something insignificant. She's in a mental hospital. A cold sweat broke out in my palms. Ningxi killed me, and Ji Yanli avenged me by killing Ningxi, even in this life. He had the foresight to lock her up in a mental hospital to prevent her from hurting me. But my first reaction wasn't gratitude. What welled up in me was fear of the madness and paranoia of the man in front of me. Ji Yanli placed me on the bed and then pressed down on me. I turned my head away in rejection and put my hand on his shoulder. No, why? He didn't move, and his voice was so soft that it was almost a whisper. Ji Yanli, you and I both know the reason. Don't force me to hate you even more. Ji Yanli's hand slid down to my waist. Tong Mian, what do you hate about me? Is it just because of Song Yu? He straightened up and began to unbutton his clothes from top to bottom. His voice was unhurried. When someone hurt you, I took revenge for you. Since the first time I saw you after returning to the country, I've avenged all the bullying you've suffered. Now you're telling me that you hate me because of a useless childhood sweetheart. I can die for you, can he? At that time, I just thought he was saying it casually in an extreme mood. But you've been forcing me, even house arrest me. Ji Yanli stopped just as he was unbuttoning one of his buttons. The lamp above his head was just blocked by him. The dim yellow light haloed around him, making it hard for me to see his expression clearly. The next moment, Ji Yanli suddenly got up. All the things on the bedside table were swept to the ground by him with a crash. I shrank back in fright. His gaze slowly moved from the mess on the ground to me. He asked emotionlessly. Then what should I do? The first time I saw you in this life, you were about to marry Song Yu. Did you ever give me a chance? So what's the meaning of my living this life again? Is it to watch you fall in love with someone else and marry someone else? You all will have a fulfilling life, while I'm still trapped in the past, trapped in the nightmare of that car accident. Is that fair to me? Ji Yanli suddenly lost control. He picked up the fallen table lamp and smashed it against the empty wall beside me. Speak. Facing him like this, I couldn't provoke him any further. Tears slowly welled up in my eyes as I looked at Ji Yanli. I sobbed softly. Are you going to hit me? Ji Yanli stared at me intently. After a few seconds, he closed his eyes. He sat down by the bedside and gently hugged me into his arms. No, I will never hurt you. Did I scare you? He raised one hand and gently rubbed my head. I'm sorry, Mian Mian. But I wasn't soothed. I still cried intermittently. Ji Yanli also kept coaxing me softly, until I was tired from crying and fell asleep. In a half-awake and half-asleep state, a gentle kiss landed on my forehead. I fluttered my eyelashes and fell into a deep sleep. 10. The plan to choose a dress the next day was delayed again, because I had a fever. The high fever wouldn't go down. After the family doctor came and gave me an 4 drip, he just told Ji Yanli, Mr. G. It's not necessarily that this girl caught a chill, she might also have been frightened. Ji Yanli watched me fall asleep last night. He had to believe that I got sick because he scared me. In fact, I got up in the middle of the night, turned the shower to the lowest temperature, and shivered under the cold water for 15 minutes. Why are you so delicate? Ji Yanli sat down beside me and rubbed the side of my face with the back of his hand. I just took advantage of the fever-induced drowsiness to avoid all communication with him, to stay by my side. Ji Yanli moved his office to his study at home, but every night I would throw away the medicine prescribed by the doctor. If my body temperature went down, I would take a cold shower again. As a result, I kept having a recurring high fever, and my body was getting weaker and weaker. She's had a fever, and she still hasn't recovered. Ji Yanli looked at the doctor with a half-smile. Maintaining the last bit of politeness, the doctor sighed. He said neither humbly nor arrogantly, Mr. G. Long-term psychological problems can lead to a decrease in immunity, and it's not uncommon for the illness to relapse. This girl is getting weaker day by day. If the root cause of the illness can't be treated, she might get seriously ill, or even. The rest of the words were self-explanatory. It was a long time after the doctor left that I heard the approaching footsteps. Ji Yanli lowered his eyes and suppressed all his emotions. Do you hate me that much? I coughed twice but didn't respond. Ji Yanli silently helped me up to drink some water, then helped me lie down again and tucked in the corner of the quilt. He didn't say anything and left. I knew that he was already starting to waver. I might be even more despicable than Ji Yanli. I knew that Ji Yanli liked me and bet on his reluctance to let me go. I hurt myself to force him to let me leave. In this life, every time Ji Yanli forced me and made me emotionally break down, I never thought of fighting him to the death. Being reborn was a second chance for me to make up for my regrets and choose my life again. It wasn't worth it to fight someone to the death. 11. When I thought I was almost going to die of illness and was about to take the medicine because I couldn't hold on anymore, Ji Yanli finally gave in. Intentionally torturing yourself. The man standing by the bedside had silent eyes like a still body of water. I weakly curved my lips and my voice was dry. Let me go, or watch me die in front of you again. When I said again, Ji Yanli frowned. I was deliberately poking at his sore spot. After saying that, I couldn't help coughing. My lungs felt as if they were being gently burned by fire, itchy and painful. Ji Yanli didn't hesitate to come over, pat my back gently, and hand me a glass of water. I didn't take it immediately. When the coughing finally stopped, I had a premonition of something. Why don't you drink it? I paused and opened my hand that had just been covering my mouth. Several spots of blood were prominently lying in my palm. The next second, I heard the sound of a glass breaking. Ji Yanli's hand stopped in the air, and the cup fell from his weakened grip. He stared fixedly at my palm, his eyes bloodshot. Do you have to force yourself to death? A faint itch welled up in my throat again, and I coughed twice. Ji Yanli took a deep breath, as if suppressing something. He took out his phone and called the driver, giving a calm order. Drive to the door, go to the hospital. He took a coat and draped it over me, then took a piece of paper, but he never looked me in the eye from beginning to end. When you recover from your illness, I'll let you go. Ji Yanli opened my palm and wiped the blood on it. His voice was very soft, giving the impression of not caring much. And I will definitely not pester you anymore. If you didn't listen carefully, you couldn't hear the tremor in his enunciation. I knew that I couldn't give him any more chances at this time, so I said something that made him even more sad. Thank you, little uncle, I'll be much happier without you. I also hope that you can find a girlfriend in the future. I'll be happy for you. His hand holding the paper trembled for a moment, then he wordlessly picked me up, carried me to the car, and took me to the hospital. After getting 2 days of intravenous drips in the hospital, I was taken back to Ji Yanli's villa to recuperate, but he rarely appeared in front of me anymore. He left early and came back late every day. The night before I left, there was a knock on the door of my room. Who is it? It's me. When I heard Ji Yanli's voice, I couldn't help but become alert. What's the matter? I'm already asleep. The person outside the door paused for a moment before asking in a low voice, the weather forecast says it will be cold and rainy tomorrow. You've just recovered a bit. Why don't you leave the day after tomorrow? I blurted out a refusal. No need, Brother Song Yu will pick me up on his way, after about another minute. I almost thought Ji Yanli had already left when I heard his voice again. Okay, 12. The next day, it was just getting light, and the rain was still falling patter. There was no sign of Ji Yanli in the living room. I raised my hand and was about to push the door open. Tong Mian, if I didn't completely get rid of Ji Yanli, I would always be worried that he would go back on his word. I frowned and turned around, meeting my wary gaze. He seemed to be stung and lowered his eyes. He was holding a white scarf in his hand. He opened it and put it around my neck. I instinctively took a step back, and his movement also paused for a moment. The scarf can keep you warm. Don't let your illness relapse. Thank you, I replied, and my gaze fell on Song Yu outside the window. I thought that my eagerness to leave was written all over my face. Ji Yanli smiled self-deprecatingly and said slowly, maybe I really have some psychological problems. Which is why I tried every abnormal means to keep you. Sorry. Only then did I look at him directly. The man in front of me had a hint of tiredness between his eyebrows and eyes. After a long time, I just nodded. Then I opened the door and left. I didn't look back even once. In the following years, as Ji Yanli promised me, he never appeared in front of me again. It wasn't difficult to fall in love with Song Yu. He always put me first in everything. He wasn't overbearing or violent. He would always listen to my thoughts gently, but he definitely wasn't lacking in a sense of responsibility either. I agreed to Song Yu's proposal in the late autumn of the 3rd year. This time, there was no business arranged marriage. It was just driven by pure love. On the day of the wedding, I didn't send an invitation to Ji Yanli, only Grandma called him, but on the day of the wedding, he still didn't show up. Later, I heard from Song Yu that Ji Yanli actually gave the project to Song Yu among Song Yu's company and another competing company. One day, on a whim, I went downstairs to the company to wait for Song Yu to get off work. A car quickly passed by in the nearby parking lot. I hadn't thought of Ji Yanli for a long time, but at that moment, I suddenly remembered, Ji Yanli used to have a car of the same series. Mian Mian. Song Yu's voice interrupted my trance. I raised my lips and walked towards him. I'm here to pick you up from work. Song Yu raised his eyebrows slightly. Then who will drive? I squinted my eyes and smiled, feeling justified. You drive. He chuckled and put his arm around me and left. The project encountered problems at a crucial point, and at the same time, I was also found to be pregnant. Song Yu hesitated to speak. It took him a long time to speak with difficulty. One of the factories in the south was hit by a mountain flood. Not only were all the most crucial components destroyed, but it was also said that some workers were killed. Ji Yanli and I have to go there. I comforted him. It doesn't matter. Mountain floods are frequent at this time of the year. You have to pay attention to your safety. You know, I didn't expect that my words would come true. Half a month later, only Song Yu came back alone. He knelt in front of Grandma, his face mixed with blood and tears. Ji Yanli saved me. I'm sorry for you. I suddenly raised my head, as if I couldn't understand what he was saying. Song Yu said that on the way down the mountain with Ji Yanli, a flood suddenly broke out. They didn't have any experience and couldn't escape. There was only a stone half embedded and half exposed nearby as a high place. It was Ji Yanli who found it. Yanli, what do you think about Mian Mian's marriage with the Song family? When Song Yu turned his head, a torrent suddenly gushed out, and he couldn't see Ji Yanli's figure anymore. He was prepared to die. But he didn't even have time to say a final word. When I stood in front of his tombstone and looked into his black and white photo, I felt as if I had traveled through time. I hadn't seen Ji Yanli for many years, because I didn't care. His features had unconsciously faded from my memory, until now, his outline became clear again. I suddenly remembered what he had said for no apparent reason. I can die for you, can he? So, did you save Song Yu for my sake? But no one would answer me anymore. On that day, before I left the cemetery, I met Ji Yanli's assistant, Miss Tong. Mr. Ji had already made a will, except for the fixed share for the old lady. All the property under his name belongs to you. After saying that, he seemed to remember something and continued to add, Mr. Ji said it was in the name of your little uncle, so you don't have to think too much about it. Another half-month passed. The local police in the south called Grandma. I was afraid that Grandma would be stimulated. So I answered the phone for her. The result was that Ji Yanli's body wasn't found. There was only a cloth amulet with some characters embroidered on it. It wasn't certain if it belonged to Ji Yanli. I asked, what are the characters? The other side said, May Mian Mian be safe and sound. Story 2. In a previous life, Jiang Hao rushed into a burning building to save his good brother, ignoring my desperate attempts to stop him. He ended up with 45% of his face burned and a permanent disability in his left hand. However, when I suggested breaking up to let him be with Li Meng, they took to the internet to write about how I was a heartless woman abandoning a hero who had saved others from a fire, which led to me being cyberbullied by millions. In the second year of suffering from depression, my family forced me into marriage with Jiang Hao by offering a dowry of 500,000 yuan. Li Meng did not attend our wedding but was waiting at our new home early to consummate the marriage on my behalf. I didn't disturb them. Instead, I silently turned on the gas in the kitchen, and when Jiang Hao rushed to turn it off, I pulled out a lighter. Let's meet in hell then. A fire treats everyone equally, regardless of who they are. I thought it would bring me relief, but after intense pain, I found myself back in the apartment I rented over 2 years ago. There, Jiang Hao and I were cuddling on the sofa, watching a movie. His left arm was around my neck, and he held a cigarette in his right hand. My mouth, seemingly out of control, pointed at the screen and endlessly talked about wanting a big bed like the one in the movie for our new home. Jiang Hao chuckled softly, sure, as long as you like it, we'll get whatever you want. As he spoke, he leaned over to kiss me. I was terrified and wanted to resist, but then I heard a familiar ringtone. Jiang Hao had set a special ringtone for Li Meng, recorded by her. Aren't you going to answer the phone, my dear son? What are you up to that's so shady? Forgot your brother now that you have a wife? Huh, if you don't answer, you're buying the next round of skewers. It was a recording of Li Meng teasing as she ran, with Jiang Hao chasing after her, her exaggerated laughter and heavy breathing clear in the background. Jiang Hao picked up the phone as if it were a royal decree. What now, my lady? You sure have a knack for timing. Ah Hao, save me, cough cough, my house is on fire, I might die. Ah Hao, save me, cough cough. Li Meng was coughing violently as she hung up. Jiang Hao stood up from the sofa, his face serious and anxious, pacing back and forth. He called Li Meng several times, but she didn't answer. He grabbed his jacket. Su Qiao, something's happened to Li Meng, we need to go check on her. Why, can't we just not go? Jiang Hao paused, looking at me with disappointment. Su Qiao, are you even human? Li Meng said her house is on fire. It's a matter of life and death, and you don't care at all. I don't care, I'm not her mother. Why should I worry? It's you who's all worked up over another woman, accusing your own girlfriend of not being human. What are you trying to say? Su Qiao, what are you doing now? You know how close I am with Li Meng. We've been good buddies for years. You should pick your moments. Jiang Hao, what if I forbid you from going? Jiang Hao scoffed and turned to leave. As he was changing his shoes at the entrance, I spoke again. Jiang Hao, I'm giving you one last chance. If you go to Li Meng today, we're breaking up. From now on, you can be with Li Meng, just don't come looking for me. Jiang Hao replied, break up, just because my brother needs me. Su Qiao, you've really shown me what it means when they say brothers are like limbs, women are like clothes. If I ever face trouble in the future, I don't know if you would come, but I know for sure that Li Meng would, so today, I must make sure she's safe. If you want to break up, then let's break up, but remember, the problem lies with you, not me. I have a clear conscience. After saying that, he turned and rushed out of the front door. Seeing both elevators occupied, he sprinted down the stairs instead. We live on the 7th floor, and running down indeed proved faster than walking. I don't know why. Even when I was prepared to go through hell, I find myself back in the realm of the living. Could it be that even fate thinks I lived through hell in my past life? I won't make the same mistakes again. Earlier, while Jiang Hao was changing his shoes, I took a photo of him tying his shoelaces. Now, I'm posting it directly to my social circle. You run to her in the shoes I bought you, making the past 3 years of my life seem like a joke. Every time it's the same, a single call from her. And whether we are kissing or hugging, you'd stop everything. Whenever she commands, all our plans get scrapped. 3 years in a relationship, loving you so humbly, even though I'm the official girlfriend, I always felt secondary, like a spare tire filling the void in your heart whenever she doesn't need you. We were even planning the decor for our new house, yet a call from her, and you left me behind again, 3 years by your side, and all I received was an if you want to break up. Then let's break up. I even started feeling cheap. Enough is enough, all the demeaning things I did for you, I'm taking it all back today. I paid the rent until next month and settled this quarter's utilities. You'll need to learn how to handle these going forward. Don't forget, I know you have no experience renting on your own. Since I met you, you've wanted to start your own business, never worked a day, and probably don't have much savings, so I chose to move out, leaving everything in the apartment for you. After all, this place reeks of you, and I can't stand it anymore. I just hope from now on we can go our separate ways and never disturb each other again. Jiang Hao, I genuinely wish you and Li Meng happiness and a long-lasting love. Love her well and stop using the guise of being good buddies to hurt innocent girls. The hardships, tears, and grievances I've endured over these 3 years, don't let another girl suffer them. Jiang Hao, love Li Meng well, I wish you happiness. It takes about 15 minutes to drive from my place to Li Meng's. I must make every second count during this time. Posting about my breakup with Jiang Hao because of his best buddy Li Meng across all my social platforms, letting everyone know. Besides the last photo I took of him changing his shoes, there are also screenshots of our chats. Over 3 years, Jiang Hao and I argued countless times because of Li Meng. He stood me up more times than I can count for her sake. It seems whenever I had a date planned with Jiang Hao, Li Meng always had some crisis. I posted 8 screenshots on WeChat where Jiang Hao apologized for standing me up because of Li Meng. Then on Weibo, I posted 18. After that, I quickly packed up some essentials, dragged my luggage downstairs, and took another photo for my social circle. Goodbye. No matter how hard it is to let go, during the years I was cyberbullied, I never understood why it had to be me who suffered. Later, I thought maybe it's because Li Meng knows how to speak, to show vulnerability, to cry, to talk about emotions. She would die for Jiang Hao's happiness, so this time, let her be the one to personally bring him happiness. I took a taxi straight to the airport and bought a ticket for tonight's flight to Yunnan. Having just broken up, I was devastated. Traveling to clear my mind seemed reasonable, right? As soon as I landed and turned on my phone, it was bombarded with messages. I was flooded with over 99 notifications. Jiang Hao's idiot friends were shamelessly texting, Su Qiao, Jiang Hao needs you now. How could you leave him at a time like this? There's absolutely nothing romantic between Jiang Hao and Li Meng. All of us brothers can vouch for that. Su Qiao, Jiang Hao is in the emergency room fighting for his life. Come back and take care of him. Aren't you afraid of being criticized if you abandon him now? Afraid? Of course, I'm not afraid. Not only am I not afraid, I even feel like laughing. I ignored those messages and then saw many voice messages from my best friend. She started by cursing Jiang Hao. Damn, you finally broke up. Sister, Jiang Hao is such trash. I told you he was no good. And that Li Meng, what a bitch, thinks she can rely solely on her male best friends. Disgusting. You were so naive to pay his rent and utilities for so many years. A dog would have been better to keep than him, and you left the house to him. Why should you? He doesn't even deserve a doghouse. Why did you go to Yunnan? To heal from the breakup. Send me your hotel info when you get off the plane. I'll catch the next flight to join you. Damn sister, karma really does exist in this world, truly. You breaking up with Jiang Hao was so timely. Just an hour later and you wouldn't have been able to escape. Jiang Hao got burned trying to save Li Meng and was rushed to the hospital. Feng Feng was extremely agitated until she got on her flight. I listened to her voice messages over and over, alone in my hotel room, tears streaming down my face, because in my past life, when I was alone, unsupported, and tortured by depression to the point of wishing I were dead, she was the only one there for me as always. She didn't know how to comfort me. And at that time, I had completely closed myself off, not allowing anyone near, so she would often send me voice messages, share her experiences as if nothing had happened, treating me like a normal person. In my past life, when I died, she was probably still single, had bought a camper van, traveled with a big yellow dog, and became a travel blogger with over 1 million fans. She must have been busy, had many friends, taken many ads, and seen many sights. But she still messaged me, sent photos, let me see the roads she traveled and the views she saw. Ciao ciao, "You should have come with me, you would have loved it." That was what she told me the most. Her consistent attitude towards me, her understanding and support from start to finish, her years of friendship amidst the overwhelming unjust criticism and moral coercion, were as fine as spider silk, yet capable of bearing immense weight. It was the only ray of light that pierced through my dark world. I still fear crowds, even though those people aren't blaming or cursing me online anymore, not dredging up every traceable event from my childhood to scrutinize and judge. But those deep-seated fears and aversions aren't something that just disappear after rebirth. I checked Fang's flight and estimated the time, then went down to the hotel lobby to wait for her. It was already past 3 in the morning. And there were only a few people at the hotel entrance. I stood alone, tucked in a corner under a column, and as soon as Fang got out of the taxi, she glanced at the few people at the entrance and made a beeline towards me. For me, it had been over 2 years since I last saw her, but for her, it was as if we had just gone to a newly opened hot pot restaurant yesterday afternoon. Ciao ciao, Fang ran towards me. She hugged me tightly, not used to being in close contact with others. I tensed up instantly, but realizing it was Fang who was holding me, someone who wouldn't hurt me, I gradually allowed myself to relax. "Let's go up, we can talk more in the room." Throughout the journey, Fang didn't stop talking. She alternated between being thankful for my timely escape and cursing Jiang Hao as a despicable man who got what he deserved. "Do you know, there should have been no casualties in the fire." But he ignored advice and charged in to play the hero, only to end up with severe burns. He became the only person in need of urgent care. It's just ridiculous. How could he do that? Surely he didn't set his clothes on fire just to play the hero in front of Li Meng, and he had the nerve to call me brother. If that's not about love, then what is? I vaguely remembered something. He wasn't that crazy. The jacket he was wearing was a birthday gift from Li Meng last month. It was made of acrylic and nylon, materials that would melt and stick to the skin in high heat, and were also highly flammable. Fang, damn, she seemed unsure how to judge the relationship between those two. After a pause, she shifted the conversation back to me. "Thank God you left, otherwise, you wouldn't even realize what trouble you'd have been in. Are there temples in Yunnan? We must go offer incense at dawn to thank the deities for watching over you. If you had been weak one more time, swallowed your pride one more time, you would have ended up in the hospital taking care of him. He ruined himself for another woman and expected you to pick up the pieces. Damn, just thinking about it makes me sick." Fang returned to the hotel room, took a bath amidst yawns, and went straight to bed. She slept soundly, enviably peaceful, but me, I hadn't slept well in a long time, and I felt wide awake now. I quietly took my laptop to the balcony. Before Li Meng could delete records and destroy evidence as she had in a previous life, I backed up all the evidence of the deep love that had once existed between her and Jiang Hao. While digging through Li Meng's secondary Weibo account, I discovered messages from her school days. It was clear she had enjoyed inserting herself between Jiang Hao and his girlfriend, emphasizing her own presence. Even after the girl couldn't tolerate it anymore and broke up with Jiang Hao, Li Meng would jump out, accusing and slandering the girl everywhere, smearing her reputation. Standing on a moral high ground, she rallied classmates to vilify the girl who broke up with Jiang Hao, portraying herself as righteous and just, and Jiang Hao as the innocent, pitiful one always being let down. The ex-girlfriends, in Li Meng's narrative, were monstrous and deserved disdain. All their friends, almost everyone they knew, were expected to join her and Jiang Hao in ostracizing these women, or else they were no better. No wonder in a past life, she easily incited an online mob against me. Even though she was the one Jiang Hao had risked his life to save, she managed to clear her own name and morally blackmail many into believing I should stay with Jiang Hao unto death. It turns out she had mastered these tactics since her school days, perfectly honed. The more I uncovered, the more I realized that this secondary account was actually the truest reflection of Li Meng's past persona. She was brash and arrogant, like a little gangster, looking down on other girls. Her mantra was, "I'm basically one of the guys, not at all like those girls. I can't hang out with them. Girls don't like me. I can only befriend boys." In college, when she wanted to reinvent her image, she switched accounts. This secondary account, used only to document her and Jiang Hao's supposed brotherly love and other close friendships, was meant to disgust her defeated foes. Here, the defeated foes specifically refer to Jiang Hao's ex-girlfriends, filled with boastful and provocative posts, almost as if saying directly, "I'm posting this for you to see. Please come and envy me." Last month, during Jiang Hao's birthday, even though I was also there, All the photos that Li Meng posted either omitted me or showed just half of my face tucked away in a corner, like an unfamiliar passerby. She even posted a photo of herself trying on clothes with Jiang Hao, effectively painting a picture without me in it. It looked as though a wife was tidying up her husband's clothes as he prepared to leave the house. The two of them were close together, all smiles, gazing at each other affectionately. Haha. Fong Fong was right, one might say. If this isn't love, then what is? This account really has it all. I even stumbled upon Li Meng's QQ number from her student days, something I didn't even know in my past life. Seeing the content she left behind and the praises sung by others in the comments, her QQ number seemed quite special. Not something just anyone could add. People in the comments were desperately pleading for a spot in her friends list. As if appearing on Li Meng's list was a great honor, a symbol of status. Following through on QQ, I found that entering her space required answering a question. The question was, who is lousy? Considering the nicknames her friends used in their interactions with her on Weibo, I typed in Meng Yi and got in. The last comment on the message board in her space was from 5 years ago. From those messages, it felt as though Li Meng had established some sort of cult, with her classmates worshipping her religiously, opening her space's albums and videos. I finally understood that the so-called worship stemmed from fear. They desperately flattered her, seeking her approval, terrified by her cruel methods towards those she disliked. She had shamelessly recorded and boasted about her bullying during her student days, getting lost in the calls of Meng Yi from her cronies. As a girl, she even secretly took photos of her classmates changing in the girls' dormitory and uploaded them directly to her space, with a group of male classmates. She objectified several developing girls, blatantly calling them derogatory names. In her comments section, someone even specifically requested photos of the class beauty, and Li Meng, without hesitation, posted photos of the class beauty changing. I clicked on that boy's profile, increasingly familiar. Wasn't that Jiang Hao from our school days? I felt so disgusted I wanted to vomit. I finally understood why there was always such a proud, close bond between Jiang Hao and Li Meng. Even boasting about it to their own girlfriends, their revolutionary comrades-like friendship, irreplaceable intimacy, was built layer by layer on the tears and humiliation of many girls. When Qin Fengfeng woke up, I was still busy on the computer, not even noticing when the sun had risen. It was already broad daylight. Qiao Qiao, what are you doing? You didn't stay up all night, did you? There's dew in your hair. Qin Fengfeng handed me a cup of hot water and then helped me dry my hair with a towel. Seeing the content on my computer screen, she paused, sat next to me, and with a look of frustrated care said, "Why do you still bother with those two? Why do you still read their messages? You and Jiang Hao have already broken up. His death is none of your business." Su Qiao, not all girls are as lucky as you, protected by divine powers, able to turn away before falling into a pit. If you dare go back to Jiang Hao, even God can't save you. No, I don't plan to get back with Jiang Hao. I just feel that since he loves Li Meng so much, and would do anything for her, they really should be together. This spectacular love story should be known to everyone. Su Qiao, are you out of your mind? Why do you care about them? Isn't that just asking for trouble? Are you a saint? How much bullying and suffering have you endured because of them? And you still have the mood to appreciate their love. What's wrong with your brain? Even Maria isn't as saintly as you. Qin Fengfeng's words nearly awakened my conscience, which had been crushed by a brutal online bullying incident. Of course, I am no saint. There are no saints in hell, only devils. After clicking send, I closed my laptop. Let's go have breakfast. You said you need to go offer prayers early, Qin Fengfeng. I do need to light some incense, praying for some divine help for your misguided mind. After the ceremony is over, we'll head back. No, why go back? You didn't even bring any luggage, not even a change of clothes. You just showed up with that small bag. What will you do if we don't go back? Didn't you bring a big suitcase? I can just wear your clothes. You're not disgusted by that, are you? Of course not. I don't mind at all. If you like them, you can have them. Good. That's more like it. Qin Fengfeng was insistent on taking me out to distract me, clearly not wanting me to return to Jiang Hao at this time. She knew that once I went back, many people would act pitiful in front of me on Jiang Hao's behalf, employing every tactic to force me to stay by his side and take care of him. They only cared that Jiang Hao needed someone to look after him now, that he was a hero, that he shouldn't be abandoned. They didn't care why I, Su Qiao, should be responsible for him, or why I should endure the humiliation of picking up after a man who risked his life for another woman. If Jiang Hao had truly loved me wholeheartedly over these 3 years, and not consistently prioritized Li Meng's needs over mine. If it had been me trapped in that fire, if he had risked his life to save me, no matter if it resulted in burns or disfigurement, I, Su Qiao, would willingly take care of him for life, without a single complaint. But as he said, he believes Li Meng would sacrifice everything for him but doesn't trust me. Therefore, if it was Li Meng in that fire, he would definitely go, even at the cost of his own life. If it was me in the fire, at most he'd stand in the crowd and tell me not to panic, and if he remembered to call the fire department, I'd consider him considerate. It's even possible that if Li Meng called him at that moment, he would leave, and later justify himself by saying, the firefighters were already there. What could I do? You're fine, aren't you? Li Meng needs me. It's ironic just to think about it. I can already imagine his exact expression and tone. I really don't understand. Why must he torment other girls? Why can't he just be with Li Meng directly? These two are insane. Unable to confront them in person, I searched online for several popular bloggers, seeing their posts about the unnamed hero in the fire, with hundreds of thousands of likes and tens of thousands of comments. I directly sent the evidence of Jiang Hao and Li Meng's love through a business partnership email. Humans are emotional beings, innately longing and yearning for beautiful love stories, especially the passionate, true love that endures life and death trials, unwavering and irreplaceable. Who wouldn't be moved by such a story? The package I sent them was full of screenshots, solid evidence, without a single embellished word. The content contained only conversations, photos, and videos between those two, without involving a third party. Anyone would think that those two had been in love for over a decade, from school uniforms to wedding gowns, a hero fearlessly braving the flames for his beloved. These two really stacked up the romantic buffs. If only Jiang Hao hadn't dated one girl after another during this time and always referred to Li Meng as a brother, their story and feelings would be enough to make a romance movie. Those bloggers really knew how to capitalize on trending topics. After receiving the email, they immediately asked me to name my price. You misunderstood, these aren't for sale, they are free. I know them and was moved by the fearless spirit of the firefighting hero risking his life for his lover. I hope the whole world sees their beautiful love that transcends life and death. Please promote them vigorously. When the wedding comes, the whole nation should join in the feast virtually. Jiang Hao and Li Meng's love story hit the trending searches the afternoon after the fire, not just locally, but on a national level. At that time, Jiang Hao probably hadn't even been moved out of the ICU. In the age of social media, where information spreads explosively fast, the popularity of a firefighting hero soared incredibly. At the time, everyone who captured photos and videos at the scene uploaded them to their accounts. Also, people around Jiang Hao and Li Meng, many of whom wanted to gain fame by being associated with heroes, were willing to accept interviews from various media and make statements on camera. I really didn't expect this level of attention. Qin Fengfeng returned to the hotel in the evening and saw the trending search, nearly smashing her phone in anger. Shameless, utterly disgraceful. These two wretches truly have no bottom line. Why hasn't lightning struck them dead? Are they childhood sweethearts destined by fate? Have they been together from school uniforms to wedding dresses? Then what are you? What about the other women before you? Are they just props in their romantic games? Insane. These two are really insane. There's no way to justify their actions. They have so many classmates and friends. Why has no one come forward to reveal the truth? Are they all blind? It kills me to see those two despicable figures being adored and praised by the whole nation on the trending searches. It's more painful than gouging out my eyes. Feng, calm down, have some tea to cool off. Getting angry over them is not worth harming your health. Su Qiao, have you lost your mind? Why aren't you angry? I've already broken up with Jiang Hao. Whatever he does has nothing to do with me anymore. Why should I be angry? But the way people online are shipping them, it's as if you've been the third party for the past 3 years. I just can't swallow that, third party. The news about Jiang Hao and Li Meng is unusually hot. The whole nation is obsessed. If they knew that Li Meng is just the guy who broke up all of Jiang Hao's past relationships, I wonder if they would collectively spit blood. I asked a well-connected influencer, what's going on? How did this become a national trending topic? My friend is just an ordinary person and can't handle this. The quick reply came, this has nothing to do with me. This isn't something my dozen accounts could achieve. To tell you the truth, clearly some big capital is involved. Why? It's simple. It's about shifting the focus. Instead of the public demanding answers about fire safety, property management responsibilities, or why a gas company had a pipeline leak and explosion, it's better to feed them a crazy true love story. Tell your friend to see the bright side. It's not necessarily a bad thing. In the era of social media, so many people are desperate to become famous. They can easily gain millions of fans overnight, and just by occasionally promoting products, they can be set for life. Nobody's perfect. Tell them to delete any incriminating information fast and to apologize to any enemies. The power of netizens is immeasurable. In less than 3 days, both their family histories could be dug up. Okay, thanks for the heads up. I checked Li Meng's alternate account again, and just like in a past life, it had already been deactivated. Too late, unfortunately. Qin Fengfeng tirelessly exposed their ugly true faces online, advocating for Jiang Hao's ex-girlfriends, mainly for me, but she didn't want to drag me into it, didn't want me to be scolded, so she only mentioned a friend of mine. As a result, the fanatic shippers of the couple cyber-attacked, everyone knows. An unnamed friend is treated as the person themselves. Their relationship is so good, their daily life so sweet, it's impossible for anyone to come between them. You must be just a bitter person unable to get love. No one knows better than I do how little Qin Fengfeng thinks of Jiang Hao. To say she pined for Jiang Hao or was jealous of their love, to Qin Fengfeng, was the ultimate insult. Qin Fengfeng would never respect the men around me. When she saw news about girlfriends stealing boyfriends, she was almost nauseated. A real best friend would think that no man in the world is worthy of her best friend. Stealing men, nonsense. Such news is just created by malicious trash trying to stir up trouble between real friends. She clutched her phone, arguing with uninformed netizens. Too painful. Pea-sized pimples appeared on her chin, making her cry out in pain when touched. As I watched her, her eyebrows furrowed and her fighting spirit high, my eyes suddenly teared up, and I turned my face away. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. In a past life, when I was so cyberbullied that I hid in my room, afraid to meet anyone or to even check my phone, was she, like now, fighting single-handedly for me, alone against a multitude. Jojo, why are you crying? She put down her phone, came over, and hugged me, gently patting my back. If you're upset, just talk about it, let out your feelings. Don't bottle them up. Why not forget about those who make you unhappy? You still have me. Qin Fengfeng thought too highly of me. She believed I was troubled by love, thinking I could truly bless Li Meng and Jiang Hao. She didn't know I was a soul resurrected from death, my heart so dark it lacked any light. Of course, I hoped they would be together, and I also hoped they would face endless calamity, better off dead, never to part through eternity. For a moment, I couldn't help but want to share my past life experiences with Qin Fengfeng, but seeing her reddened eyes and the boil on her chin, I held back. What grievances have I suffered this time? It's merely escaping from a sea of misery, a stroke of luck. Yet she still felt indignant on my behalf. If she knew what I had endured in my past life, how I died, it would be too painful for her. Fengfeng, stop arguing with others. Could you let me use your account? Sure, take it, post whatever you want. Argue with whoever you want, I'll bear the consequences. I'm not afraid of anything. I wouldn't curse anyone. I had already understood that one person cannot win against the whole internet, who only care about their imagined ideals, boldly claiming, I think he's pitiful, so you must take responsibility for him, rather than saying, I think he's a great hero, I'll take care of him for life. They are generous with others' feelings, then bask in the satisfaction of being a good person. This time, I wanted to try that kind of happiness too. Holding on to Qin Fengfeng's account, still editing the content, a blogger who had contacted me before with several accounts reached out again. You must have some dirt on them, right? I know, you must have been very close friends, old friends, but no matter how good the relationship, don't let it get in the way of money, right? Can I buy it from you? You know, the curiosity and desire for knowledge of netizens are endless. All their dark histories will eventually be uncovered. You can't hide it for them. Look at the sickly sweet, flawless, mythically beautiful love on the trending searches now. Who but schoolchildren would not find it fake? It's not that I'm dark by nature, but years of professional sensitivity tell me there's a big story behind this. Could you leak some first-hand info? If your conscience bothers you, just point me in the right direction, and I'll search myself. I have the means to choose what gets published. If netizens uncover it themselves, they won't be considerate towards you. Heh. Seeing him previously advising me to tell those two to delete their dark histories and apologize to their enemies, I thought he was truly moved by their love, overwhelmed by kindness. Turns out, he was just trying to scam me, to see if he could trick me into revealing something. After waiting several hours to no avail, he couldn't wait any longer and revealed his true intentions. Using Qin Fengfeng's account, I published the content I had edited, consisting of a gallery of over 20 images, all capturing Jiang Hao and Li Meng badmouthing Jiang Hao's ex-girlfriends. Li Meng really liked to boast by sharing screenshots of her and Jiang Hao mocking his girlfriends. Now she's reaping what she sowed. So, Li Meng was never the legitimate girlfriend. Jiang Hao had multiple relationships, the proof is irrefutable. Using Qin Fangfang's account was strategic, as her account had already drawn a day's worth of hatred, with many coming to her page looking for her information. Laying out this evidence was a direct blow to those fervent fans defending the beautiful love of Jiang Hao and Li Meng, whether they choose to turn a blind eye or to unfollow and retaliate. After I handed over the account ID of Qin Fangfang to the previous blogger, I told him, "You can have the directions, but I don't need the money. How much content you can find is up to your own skills." I'm not sure if it's because Qin Fangfang is taking care of me now that she doesn't allow herself to be vulnerable, or if she's really just thick-skinned. After she threw her phone at me, she took mine to order takeout and even brought back a bouquet of flowers, since she came to my side. Besides the moment she held me while I cried and her eyes turned red, she has been either indignantly angry or laughing and joking around. But the pimples that burst out on her face and the blisters in her mouth can't lie, she's more upset than me. Fangfang, you should cancel this account in a few days. Sure, use it as you please. When the time comes, I'll just cancel it outright, and let those idiots who want to argue find no one to fight with. That'll show them. Originally, I really didn't want to get involved in this online frenzy, especially since the cyberbullying from my past life was too terrifying to experience a second time. But seeing the attacks on Qin Fangfang's account, how could I bear to let her suffer the harm that she shouldn't have to endure? If her real identity were to be exposed, the overwhelming slander would suffocate me just thinking about it. She plans to be a travel blogger and internet celebrity. She can't afford such a senseless dark history. That's not for her to bear. If netizens are so eager to get information about their ex-girlfriends, fine, I'll give it to them. I used Qin Fangfang's WeChat to screenshot my own social media, then, with my own Weibo ID, send it directly to that blogger. Jiang Hao's girlfriend of 3 years, before the fire, broke up with him after a fight with Li Meng. I knew it. True to his nature as a traffic-hungry blogger, he was as excited as a vulture spotting carrion. The beautiful love story of a firefighting hero was pushed to the forefront to distract the public, with only a handful of sober netizens calling for rationality and accountability instead of indulging in celebrity pairings. But their voices, just like those of the victims hurt by Jiang Hao and Li Meng, were too small and got drowned out. However, the enthusiasm of netizens has a time limit. Continuously feeding them sugar will get tiresome. That's when you need to slap them in the face and bring this matter to another climax, with capital entering the fray and the heat not subsiding. As long as one follows the trend, there will be traffic. After milking a bit of the fairy tale romance, everyone began to peel back layers of the story. This process was exactly the same as in my previous life, having seen the Weibo and social circles of Li Meng and Jiang Hao from their student days. I'm not at all surprised by how netizens might greet them, but what I didn't expect was that Li Meng had never completely shut down her QQ space or deleted those photos and videos. Did she forget her password? Good and evil will eventually be repaid, and perhaps those classmates she bullied and tormented have been waiting for this day. However, when I was about to enter her QQ number in the chat box, I hesitated, because in her space, there were many photos of her female classmates changing clothes, just blatantly displayed. If this were to be leaked, wouldn't it be a second harm to those innocent girls? In the end, I deleted her QQ number, but saved some of the photos and videos, along with screenshots of the message board, which I pixelated and sent to the blogger. After seeing those items, the blogger took a long time before asking me, "You're not really their friend, are you? You're their enemy." Yes, an enemy. A deep-seated one. I've waited a long time for this day. After all this, Qin Fangfang and I both turned off our phones, decided to ignore the online messages, and went on a spontaneous trip. We traversed snowy mountains and marveled at seas of flowers, encountering many artistic youths with vibrant spiritual lives. Qin Fangfang said, "Actually, the job I really want is to be a travel blogger, traveling the roads in an RV, free and unbound. I'd go wherever beauty leads, chasing the seasons and following beautiful legends. Just thinking about it excites me." "You will make it come true. Then, Jojo, would you come with me? We could team up and keep each other company." "Sure. If you still want me with you by then, I'll go." If you knew what I did, how I doomed those two people beyond redemption, if you aren't afraid of me, don't blame me, and don't find me vicious and terrifying, I'd go anywhere with you. Qin Fangfang, what silly things you're saying. If you're willing to be with me, I couldn't ask for more, so it's settled then. I'll save up to buy a car. I spent a whole week with Qin Fangfang in Yunnan before we finally started our journey home. Online, the story of the big fire and the hero Jiang Hao who rushed in to save others had turned into a drama series full of climaxes and twists. The so-called love that shares life and death turned into a trashy tale of a scumbag and a perennial mistress persecuting an innocent girl. The blogger was right. The power and curiosity of netizens are endless. They dug up more dirt than I, who have lived a lifetime, could have managed. They not only exposed Jiang Hao and Li Meng but also those who testified on the internet that Jiang Hao and Li Meng are just like siblings, without any romantic feelings. Whatever Li Meng posted was filtered and meant for viewing, but what those people posted on their accounts didn't need Li Meng's approval, especially those things from their school days. Anyone would feel a pang of sympathy for the classmates she bullied. There were even legal organizations willing to offer free legal aid to those classmates, encouraging them to sue Li Meng and Jiang Hao's bully gang, though it's likely they would only get an apology, with little chance of compensation, but it marked a significant event, a warning to other kids not to think that underage bullying has no consequences. A dark past can follow you for life, now you may revel in arrogance. But sooner or later, you'll deeply regret it. After the incident, Li Meng tried numerous times to add me as a friend, but I never accepted. She bombarded me with messages from her and her brother's phones, hysterically screaming at me to come back and take care of Jiang Hao, claiming I was his real girlfriend. Hilarious. The whole internet knows I'm his ex, and you're his true love of many years, although some called me manipulative, suggesting my breakup post insinuated that Jiang Hao was jobless. Mooching off me, so what? Yes, I was being manipulative on purpose. Every word I said was true. Jiang Hao's family is wealthy. He prides himself on being self-made and claims he won't take a penny from his family. I supported him for 3 years, and still, his friends thought I was the gold digger. Why shouldn't I let everyone know his true face? I went to see Jiang Hao in the hospital. Qin Fangfang adamantly refused to go and rolled her eyes as she went home. At the hospital, Li Meng, who hesitated to enter the ward, lit up when she saw me as if seeing a savior. She rushed at me. Su Qiao, you're finally back. Please check on Jiang Hao. He needs you. Before her hands could drag me into the ward, I fiercely slapped her face. With a loud smack, the onlookers around us fell silent, all eyes on us. In a past life, by now she would have already hidden away, using the shock and injuries from the fire as an excuse, leaving only me to tend to Jiang Hao. Everyone took it for granted, thinking I should be the one to do so. This time, it was her turn, and rightfully so, wasn't it? Li Meng, are you even human? Jiang Hao was willing to die for you, and what are you doing now? Are you looking down on him? Who does he need more, me or you? Don't you know, his girlfriends come and go, but Li Meng remains constant. Was that just a joke? Before he went to see you, I tried to stop him. I even threatened to break up with him, but he chose you without hesitation. Fearless even of death for your sake. Why aren't you by his side in the hospital? Are you planning to run away? Li Meng, one must have a conscience. A good man like Jiang Hao, who is so devoted to you, you won't find another like him in your lifetime. I admit defeat. I bless you both. I'm begging you. Please don't abandon him at this time. He needs you, Li Meng. He became like this because of you. If you despise him and leave him, wouldn't that be worse than death for him? You can't do this, Li Meng. When a man is at his lowest, the last person he wants to see is his ex-girlfriend. I won't go into the hospital room. Please take good care of him, Li Meng. You two are childhood sweethearts, meant to be together. Your love will surely last forever. I sincerely wish you both well. As I turned to leave, Li Meng lunged at me desperately, grabbing my hair and tearing at my clothes, looking even more ferocious than when she bullied her classmates in those videos. However, before she could scratch my shoulder badly, she was pulled away. What are you doing? This is a hospital. Stop it or I'll call the police. No, it shouldn't be like this. Su Qiao, it should be you. You should be with him. You go. You are his girlfriend, not me. Only then did I notice something was different. The burn scars on Li Meng's left arm were gone. She had emerged from the fire unscathed, without a single injury. Her eyes showed more defiance than fear, ignoring the current public opinion and the fact that Jiang Hao and I had broken up, stubbornly believing that I should be the one by his side. Suddenly, it occurred to me, could it be that she too had been reborn? How wonderful. That's fantastic. Heaven has eyes. I knew we would meet again in hell, watching Li Meng being held back. I raised my hand and made a motion as if lighting a lighter, which others might think was just me using sign language to thank her, but only Li Meng understood what I meant. She looked at me in horror, her mouth slightly open, her face pale, her body trembling. Yes, that fire brought us all back. I was reborn too, so why should I be manipulated by you again? It's really nice to see you again, reborn Li Meng. I asked the doctor and found out that this time Jiang Hao's facial burns reached 70%. His left ear was completely destroyed by the fire, and his left eye was nearly blind, needing eye drops dozens of times a day. His back was severely burned too, requiring skin grafts. This looked much worse than before. How could this be? If Li Meng was also reborn, ensuring she was unharmed, how could she let Jiang Hao end up so severely burned? She must think that no matter what happens to Jiang Hao, I would eventually take over. And it wouldn't concern her, so. You're completely disregarding Jiang Hao's welfare now. Great. Enjoy the surprise you prepared for yourself. Online, a video and photos of Jiang Hao, covered in flames and carrying Li Meng wrapped in a blanket as they rushed out of the building, are wildly circulating. Some bloggers have even created a comic version, both beautiful and tragic, and despite subsequent twists in the situation, they couldn't bear to delete them. But in my previous life, I never saw any of these, because in that life, Li Meng took preemptive action by telling the public that Jiang Hao was a helpful hero, that he had a lover, and asked everyone not to overly promote the photos and videos of Jiang saving her. To avoid upsetting his official girlfriend, she blurred the heroic deed Jiang Hao did for her, shifted all the focus onto me, and cleared herself of all responsibilities. Can you escape this time? I only visited the hospital once, and never went again. Just like the previous life, Li Meng also went only once. She didn't slap me, but instead, she cried and begged me. She said, "I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have called Jiang Hao. I shouldn't have asked him to rescue me. It's all my fault he got hurt. If he hadn't been disfigured, you wouldn't have left him, right, Su Qiao? I'm begging you. Jiang Hao is already pitiful. He really loves you. Please don't leave him now. Blame me. Is it okay if I die? As long as you can stay by Jiang Hao's side and make him happy, I'm willing to die." Her words seemed sincere, but she herself would rather perform a suicide in front of everyone than ever consider being with Jiang Hao. Her life-saving grace turned into an obligation for me. Fearing that Jiang Hao would cling to her and demand her responsibility, she published a lengthy essay online, condemning me as a heartless woman for abandoning a fire rescue hero. Although the fire was extinguished by firefighters, Jiang Hao had rushed in to carry her out before they arrived. While I was overwhelmed by an online backlash, Li Meng took the chance to distance herself from Jiang Hao. She still managed to portray herself as noble and great. "Ah Hao, I know you truly love Su Qiao. She has misunderstood us now, and I can't appear between you two anymore. I can't affect your relationship, but you should know, we are lifelong good friends. For your happiness, I'm willing to step back. She's being misunderstood and insulted online. She really needs you. Please stay with her." I didn't expect netizens to get so agitated. "Now only you can comfort her." After that, Li Meng disappeared for 2 years without showing her face to me until she appeared in the new house I shared with Jiang Hao. Li Meng really got sued, along with a few of her close friends. Jiang Hao, because of the fire incident, was spared by the common saying, "To err is human, to forget divine," and was removed from the list of defendants. The verdict was as the lawyer predicted. A public apology with no substantial punishment, considering we were all minors at the time. But after such a scandal, the past of these school bullies became known to everyone in their current social and work circles, causing everyone to distance themselves, fearing association, and they were isolated at work until they had to resign voluntarily. Evil deeds bear evil consequences. After the case, the Jiang family approached the Li family for a marriage proposal, the dowry still being 500,000 yuan. Li Meng cried and screamed in disagreement, saying behind closed doors that Jiang Hao looked like a ghost, giving her nightmares. What are nightmares compared to the harsh reality? Li Meng's refusal to marry enraged the Jiang family. Their only son had become disfigured because of her. She really disliked it. Although the Jiang family wasn't at the pinnacle of wealth, they could easily muster tens of millions in disposable funds, unlike Li Meng's family, who were just ordinary salaried workers and couldn't withstand their targeting. Within 2 months, Li Meng was practically packed up by her family and delivered to Jiang Hao. Their wedding came much quicker than my own in a previous life. Even before the results of the fire investigation were out, the buzz hadn't fully died down yet, and there were still many eyes on them. This time, it seemed the whole country was invited to the feast. Virtually speaking, to avoid marrying Jiang Hao, Li Meng actually approached a good friend from before, offered herself willingly, and even sent photos and videos of it to Jiang Hao. Ah how, I've always treated you like a brother, you know that, I don't have romantic feelings for you. I've always loved Lazy, please, call off the wedding and let us be together, I belong to him now, we can still be good brothers, and I'll take care of you for the rest of my life, I can do anything for you, just not marry you, really, Jiang Hao, really, if I hadn't been reborn, I might have actually believed you. Li Meng threw her phone away, screaming in terror. Jiang Hao's parents, upon seeing the photos and videos Li Meng sent their son, were so enraged they ended up in the hospital. Yet, Jiang Hao did not call off the wedding. After the wedding, amidst the ongoing heat of the fire investigation and court compensation verdict, Jiang Hao himself leaked the video Li Meng had sent him, while Li Meng was cornered, crying and holding her head under cyber attack. He stepped forward with a statement, I believe what she said, it was all a misunderstanding, I trust our feelings for each other. They can't be destroyed by a mere fire, Meng Meng is a good person, please leave her alone. Don't disturb our lives anymore. Jiang Hao successfully cleansed his image from those ugly faces in the school violence videos, and the trashy image of betraying countless ex-girlfriends for Li Meng. He became a romantic fool, an object of pity and sympathy. As much as he was pitied, Li Meng was vilified. Jiang Hao contacted me many times, wanting to meet, but I really wasn't interested. Qin Fangfang's grandmother passed away, and I accompanied her back to her hometown for the funeral. As soon as the funeral ended, her three uncles started a heated fight over the inheritance, even flipping tables and coming to blows. Eventually, they wanted to slaughter the big yellow dog the grandmother had raised and divide its meat. It was the first time I saw Qin Fangfang cry so heartbrokenly. Then, while they weren't looking, we took the trembling dog and drove away in the night. Back home, Qin Fangfang, holding the dog, asked me, Chow Chow, what do you think is the meaning of life? My grandmother, after she got married, the furthest she ever went was to the market in town. She never once returned to her parental home. Did you know? She never even went to a movie theater her whole life because there wasn't one in town. I once wanted to bring grandmother to live with me, to show her the big city, but my uncles refused, blaming me for being thoughtless. I don't understand. Grandma was so good to me when I was a child, why can't I take care of her and show my filial piety? Later, I realized they preferred grandmother to suffer with them rather than enjoy comfort at someone else's house because of the inheritance. They feared grandmother would be swayed by my kindness and secretly give me things. They seem so nice usually, but why are their thoughts so filthy? Why is that? Chow Chow, let's go traveling, shall we? I no longer want to stay in one place, and I'll soon have saved enough money to buy a car. Feng Feng, can I tell you a story? That night, the two of us and a dog sat on the edge of the bed, talking endlessly. The dog and I didn't cry, but Qin Fangfang cried throughout. Why didn't you tell me earlier, Chow Chow? How could you be so foolish? How could you dare? The fire must have been so painful, Chow Chow. Qin Fangfang hugged me, crying heart-wrenchingly. She looked at me, but she was crying for the departed Su Chow she never knew. Her face was a mask of anguish and helplessness. If it weren't for the good soundproofing of the apartment, I would have been afraid that her neighbors might call the police in the middle of the night. I contributed half of the money, and together with Qin Fangfang, we bought an RV. We deactivated our old social media accounts, changed our phone numbers, and set up new social media profiles, determined to become two qualified travel bloggers. Before we set off, I went to meet Jiang Hao. He wore a cap and a hood, his face hidden behind sunglasses. He didn't look as frightening as one might expect, and I had long grown accustomed to the scars on his face. Why have you always wanted to see me, Su Chow? I'm sorry, it was my fault in the past. Is that why you're here? Just to apologize. I want to tell you, I regret it. I know you tried to stop me back then, even threatening to break up with me to prevent me from getting hurt, but now you see, it was all my own doing. Li Meng was reborn before me. When I entered, she was already wetting the blanket. In her previous life, she injured her hand because the blanket wasn't wet enough. This time, she would rather delay and let the fire grow bigger, ensuring I got more severely injured while she made sure to wet the entire blanket and even drenched herself in the bathroom. Not caring whether I lived or died, I watched him calmly. As he described the scene, his body couldn't stop trembling. Filled with regret and hatred so intense it seemed almost tangible enough to flip the roof, but inside, I felt nothing. So, you were reborn too, that's really good news. But I must clarify one thing, I never intended to save you. The way I decisively broke up with you, leaving precise evidence and timing of our breakup, moving out overnight and traveling out of province, it was all to save myself, to sever ties with you, so, please don't flatter yourself. I always felt that a world where only the victims are reborn is cruel to the reborn. Why should only the victims experience it twice? If the past is unknown, how can one truly aim for a deep revenge? The perpetrators know nothing, feel victimized by revenge, thinking themselves innocent. It would be fairer if everyone were reborn. That would be true retribution. Then, you would know what you truly deserve. Finally, heaven heard my prayers and favored me. Only when I knew that Jiang Hao was also reborn in that emergency room did I truly let go of everything. The phrase "a weight lifted off my shoulders" isn't just an adjective. I truly felt lighter. My smiles no longer forced. Qin Fengfeng and I, along with our big yellow dog, embarked on our road trip. Our country is magnificent. Its landscapes vast. This life, this journey, surely will not be in vain. Story 2. Returning to my high school days. I accidentally bumped into the man who would become my future husband. At that time, he was still a carefree young master and teased me, saying, "I like beautiful women with big chests, slim waists, and long legs. You, looking like a sprout, don't stand a chance." I nodded in understanding and replied, "You're blocking my way to the top student." Later, rumors spread throughout the school that I was dating this top student. He was upset and cornered me, threatening, "Qin Wan, if you dare to date early, I'll break your legs." It wasn't until university that the top student confessed his feelings for me. The man who once favored curvaceous beauties ended up sweeping me off my feet, pinning me beneath him, seductively coaxing, "Sweetheart, would you like to try what it's like to be with your husband at 20? I stumbled into a warm chest. Reflexively grabbing the corner of his shirt, a flood of memories rushed through my mind. Before I could steady myself, a teasing voice came from above, "Qin Wan, have you also learned to throw yourself into my arms?" Looking up, I was met with an extremely handsome face. His slightly squinted, peach blossom eyes were brimming with amusement, casting affectionate looks all around. I had seen his face thousands of times, yet my heart still skipped a beat from his stunning appearance. His name was Lu Yi, my husband, or rather, my husband from a past life. "Aren't you letting go? Do you like me that much?" Unfortunately, he paused mid-sentence, giving me a mocking glance. "I like beautiful women with big chests, slim waists, and long legs. You, looking like a sprout, stand no chance." Indeed, I was never his type, so much so that in our previous life, even after over a year of marriage, he never touched me. I let go of his shirt, frowning as I took a few steps back. "You're in my way, I'm looking for the top student." As I tried to walk past him, he grabbed my backpack. "School's over. Why are you looking for the top student instead of going home with me?" I yanked my backpack back, giving him a cold glance. "Mind your own business. Qin Wan, have you become so capable? If it weren't for the old man's orders, this young master wouldn't bother with you." Ignoring my struggles, he forcefully wrapped an arm around me and carried me off to his car. I was so angry that my face turned red, pushing him away. "Stay away from me." He slightly raised the corner of his eye, deliberately leaning in closer. "Did you take the wrong medicine today? You're like a little pufferfish, so temperamental." Seeing that I ignored him, he chuckled lightly and hooked my chin with his finger. "Are you upset now? Don't touch me." I swatted his hand away and turned my face toward the car window. I recalled the scenes from my past life where he flaunted his affairs. A voluptuously figured woman looked at me with mocking eyes. "Can your plain figure ever arouse Lu Xiao's desires?" Then, she casually pulled down her neckline, revealing ambiguous love bites. "Have you ever seen his wild side in bed?" In that moment, I felt nauseous. My marriage to Lu Yi originated from a drunken joke about a match between our families. We were young then, and both sets of parents were still alive. After my parents died unexpectedly, the Lu family took me in, unexpectedly. Lu's father, a man of his word, pressured Lu Yi to marry me after we graduated from university. Perhaps due to the pressure, Lu Yi didn't refuse, and I wasn't against the marriage either. After all, I was vain, and Lu Yi was undeniably handsome, even without love. Just having him as eye candy was a pleasure. I thought I could overlook his philandering, but reality proved otherwise, and deep down, I realized I genuinely liked him. I actually liked a scoundrel. This realization was something I couldn't accept, so I immediately asked Lu Yi for a divorce and moved out of the Lu household without delay. As the car drove on, I was aimlessly unsure of where to go, until a truck coming from the opposite direction hit me, and I woke up back in my high school days. The first thing I faced was Lu Yi mocking me about my bean sprout-like stature, hitting my sore spot once again. Perhaps because I was a premature baby and often sickly from a young age. My development lagged behind my peers. I always appeared much younger than my age. Even though I was taken back to the Lu family 3 years ago and received meticulous care, My physical development still hadn't caught up with others my age. Alright, it's all my fault. Have some milk to cool off, Louis said, handing me a bottle of milk with a tone of coddling a child. I was so angry I wanted to smash the milk bottle on his head. Whether it's the Louis now or 6 years later. He is equally annoying. He kept pestering me with chatter, playing with a lock of my hair as he spoke. When I finally couldn't control myself and kicked him towards the other side of the car window, he suddenly told the driver to stop by the roadside. As the car window rolled down, I heard Louis whistle towards someone on the sidewalk. Hey goddess, need a ride? Looking sideways, I saw Jiang Ruan, dressed in a black leather skirt and carrying a guitar case, exuding a distinct personality. She was the campus goddess of University A, and Louis often visited University A to pursue her. Despite his poor academic performance, he boldly claimed he would get into University A for her. Jiang Ruan didn't notice my presence in the back seat and was about to open the car door. Louis pointed to the front passenger seat. Goddess, please sit in the front. My little friend here is throwing a tantrum and won't let me get close. Jiang Ruan turned her head towards me and nodded with a smile. Once she got into the car, Louis's attention was completely drawn to her. All I heard were his compliments about Jiang Ruan. He commented on how pretty her skirt was and how nice the little braid by her ear looked. Indeed, Jiang Ruan was beautiful, fitting all of Louis's aesthetic preferences. Unfortunately, in a previous life, Louis couldn't decide on his own marriage, and his dream of marrying the goddess was thoroughly shattered. Jiang Ruan had joined an off-campus band, where she was the guitarist. They were scheduled to perform at a pub tonight. She invited Louis and me to watch their performance. I politely declined, using the excuse that I needed to go home to study, but Louis disagreed and irrationally dragged me into the pub. All you know is studying, you're becoming a nerd, he said, facing Louis, who was already 1.8 meters tall. I felt as powerless as a little chick. Other than calling him a dictator, I had no way to fight back. After we sat down, Jiang Ruan left for backstage preparations. After a few soft love songs, it was Jiang Ruan's band's turn. Different from the earlier sentimental tunes, their sound instantly electrified the venue. Even I couldn't help but be captivated. Jiang Ruan on stage, playing the guitar, was immensely charismatic. When a girl acts cool, boys really can't compete with her. I had to admit, Louis had really good taste. Jiang Ruan was someone even I admired. A hand waved in front of my face. Are you staring because she's that good-looking? Yes, very cool. I brushed Louis's hand away and applauded enthusiastically for the performance. Am I cool too? I rolled my eyes at him as a response to his vanity. Louis clicked his tongue and shook his head. You've seen nothing yet. Let me show you what cool really is. As the current performance ended, he stood up and walked towards the stage, whispered something to the drummer, and then took his place, under the spotlight. He winked at me as if to say, watch this. Radiating a mix of roguish charm and wildness, he effortlessly whipped the entire audience into a frenzy with his drumming. People in the crowd began to scream and take photos. That guy on the drums is way too handsome. Even Jiang Ruan couldn't help but look on with admiration. As we were leaving, Louis walked backwards in front of me, a smug expression on his face. How about that? I'm way cooler than those professional musicians, right? With a face like mine, I'd be a top-tier celebrity in the entertainment industry. Louis. Jiang Ruan followed us out, her voice still slightly breathless. Louis stopped and turned around, his eyes twinkling with amusement. What's up? Jiang Ruan approached him. Seemed about to say something, but hesitated upon seeing me. You guys talk, I'll head to the car first. I considerately gave them some space. From the car, I watched the two of them under the dim streetlights, standing face to face. Jiang Ruan tucked her slightly messy hair behind her ear, her cheeks tinged with shyness. She clenched her fist, gathering courage, and the next second, she tiptoed and kissed Louis on the cheek. My eyes widened slightly, my heart squeezed by an invisible hand. Louis suddenly looked my way, even though I knew he couldn't see me. I guiltily averted my gaze like a thief. When I got back into the car, Louis casually wiped his face. You didn't see anything just now, did you? Nothing. He seemed relieved and ruffled my hair. Why do you still seem unhappy? Are you still mad about my joke earlier, calling you a sprout? I pulled his hand away, not wanting to deal with him. After a quick dinner at home, I retreated to my room. I pulled out my exercise book. But the unfamiliar problems made my head hurt, and I eventually closed the book and went to bed. My mind was a haze, filled with jumbled memories that seemed about to burst my brain. Gradually, my entire body felt like it was in a furnace, my bones burning painfully. In my blurred consciousness, I seemed to see Louis's face, twisted and frightening. He reached out to hold me, and I stared at his cheek, starting to cry in irritation. I pushed his face away in disgust, but he moved closer again. So I scratched at his face wildly. He restrained my hands and held me close, his voice by my ear both anxious and restrained. Sweetie, please be good, okay, we'll go to the hospital and you'll feel better. When I woke up, I was lying in Luya's arms, feeling sore and weak. He encircled me from behind, holding my hand as he clipped my nails. I didn't move, just quietly watched his actions. When he finished with the last nail, I moved my head and looked up at him. His handsome face now bore several scratch marks. Luyi, can you be my brother? He placed a hand on my forehead. Silly, haven't I always been your brother? A sense of security instantly filled the emptiness in my heart, like grabbing a lifeline. Perhaps in a past life, I was mistaken. Being family suits us better than lovers. After this realization, even looking at Luyi was more pleasing. I sheepishly pointed to the scratches on his face. Did I do that? He helped me sit up against the bed headboard and opened a thermos on the table. He scooped up a spoonful of porridge and brought it to my lips. Who else would dare touch my face but you? I gave a sheepish smile and apologized. I reached for the spoon to feed myself, but he moved it away. Don't move around, you are my ancestor now. If the old man knew I hadn't taken good care of you, he'd almost come through the phone to smack me. I have no idea how he manages to be so well informed even from abroad. There must be a traitor in the family, daring to tattle on me. Listening to his complaints, I suddenly felt the urge to laugh. It's a blessing to have a second chance at life. This time, I will definitely find my own happiness. After recovering from my illness, I threw myself into my studies. In addition, I began to drink milk and eat nutritious meals actively each day, while persisting with exercise. I believed that with my efforts, I would develop better than in my previous life. When Luyi saw that I had signed up for yoga at the gym, he also enrolled in basketball. Usually, at this time after school, he would have already been gaming on his computer. After some thought, I advised him, you don't have to exercise just to accompany me. I can manage on my own. He gave me a sidelong glance and said, who said I'm doing this for you? I just felt like playing basketball. I shrugged and stopped bothering with him. An hour later, after yoga class ended, I was leaning against the wall as I walked out of the studio. Just as I stepped out, a hand grabbed my arm and Luya's voice came from above. What's wrong with your legs? Holding back tears, I replied, I've got a cramp. He sighed, crouched in front of me, and said, Chinwan, what would you do without me? Come on, I'll carry you back. No need, I'll just walk slowly. Ignoring my response, Luyi reached back, scooped me up, and firmly decided for both of us, hold tight, or don't blame me if you fall. Luyi, put me down. He pretended to throw me, which scared me into clinging tightly around his neck. Delighted with his successful prank, he laughed heartily. Now you're behaving. Annoyed, I pinched his cheek hard. He then suddenly sped up. Luyi, slow down, I'm scared. Say something nice. Luyi is the kindest person in the world. Luyi is not nice at all. He's the most unreasonable person there is. This was my first thought when he accused me of puppy love. A week ago, after a dismal score on a pop quiz, I approached Yan Zhao from the next class, hoping to discuss my academic issues with him. After all, he was known for his excellent grades and was both patient and good-tempered. His way of explaining things was easier to understand than the teacher's, and I had consulted him before, so I sought him out again without hesitation. After flipping through my test, Yan Zhao gave me a strange look. Did you intentionally mess up? You weren't at this level before. I gave an awkward smile. I hadn't touched high school material in years. How could I not be rusty? What if I told you I went to sleep and forgot everything I knew? Would you believe that? He neither agreed nor disagreed, simply bowing his head and starting to explain the questions. This went on for a week. As a thank you, I occasionally brought him some treats. Over time, rumors started circulating. People said I was feigning ignorance, using tutoring as a pretext to chase after Yan Zhao. Some even took photos out of context and posted them on the campus forum. A moment where I was quietly asking him a question by his ear was captured as if I was kissing him. A photo of me leaning on his chair was portrayed as if I was resting on his shoulder. When I was unaware of these images on the forum, Luyi suddenly appeared, with a face full of anger. He yanked me up from my seat next to Yan Zhao. Luyi, what are you doing? My hand hurt from his grip. His strength was immense, and I couldn't break free. After being dragged out of the classroom, Luyi pulled me into an empty classroom and trapped me between his arms. His voice fierce. Chinwan, my heart softened a bit. Despite my frustration, how long are you going to keep up this act? He looked genuinely upset. I'm not acting, you were being overbearing. and I just want you to understand boundaries, I replied, holding the warm cup in my hands. Okay, I get it. I'm sorry for overreacting. Let's not end the day like this, alright. He leaned against the door frame, looking more vulnerable than usual. I took a sip of the milk, feeling the warmth spread through me. Fine, but you need to learn to trust me more. And stop jumping to conclusions. He nodded slowly. I'll try, I promise. Can we go back to normal now? I sighed, not fully convinced but exhausted from all the day's drama. We'll see. Good night, Lu Yi. He smiled, a hint of relief in his expression. Good night, Qin Wan. He pulled back, finally removing his foot from the door as he closed it gently behind him. As I sipped the milk, I realized that despite our quarrels, there was a part of me that still appreciated his concern. However misdirected it might have been, tomorrow was another day, and hopefully, it would be less eventful. I froze for a moment. When my parents were still alive, that was how they called me. After their passing, I withdrew into myself for a long time, having just been taken in by the Liu family. I was very cautious and hardly dared to speak. At night, I would hide under the covers and cry, closing my eyes. I would see the scene of them leaving me. Crying would always lead to fevers and sickness. Lu Yi somehow learned this nickname, and he would always use it when I was ill. He'd coax me to take my medicine and get my injections, and it was only during those times that he acted like a truly caring big brother. Remembering how he took care of me in the past, I silently took the cup of milk from him. This won't happen again. His eyes lit up, and he immediately swore. I promise I'll always trust you unconditionally from now on. Knowing he had upset me, Lu Yi became especially attentive. The next day, the young master surprisingly didn't stay in bed. Instead, he got up early to wake me and even went as far as to squeeze the toothpaste for me. After I finished washing up, he mysteriously guided me to sit in front of the vanity mirror. Today I'm going to do your hair. I was almost scared to death when I heard this. What, did you take the wrong medicine? He clicked his tongue. You don't trust me. I've actually spent a long time learning, a grown man learning to do hair. Thinking about his flirtatious and frivolous nature, I wasn't surprised. It was probably another skill he picked up to make girls happy. I thought he meant a simple ponytail when he mentioned doing my hair, but then he took out 2 braided bands adorned with small pearls and expertly started braiding the hair near my ears. How does it look? Pretty, right? I was stunned and gave a thumbs up to his reflection in the mirror. True to his nature, he really put in the effort to charm girls. No wonder. Despite his playboy traits, so many girls still liked him. If he were ever truly dedicated, he could be called a living legend. 12. On the weekend, Yan Zhao came to the Liu residence to see me. Upon seeing him, Liu Ye's face darkened by 3 shades. As a top student, surely you understand basic pleasantries, right? Yan Zhao pushed up his glasses and calmly stated, Liu, perhaps you're not aware, but I've been hired by your mother as Qinwan's tutor until the college entrance exams are over. Lu Yi clearly didn't believe him, but before he could react, Mrs. Liu came downstairs. Seeing Yan Zhao, she warmly invited him to sit down. Mom, are we going bankrupt? Why hire such a mediocre tutor for Qinwan? Mrs. Liu glanced at him disdainfully. Yan is not like you, who only knows how to indulge in pleasures. He has already self-studied all the high school curriculum. I knew this very well, having seen it in my past life, while all the other students were buried in their books. Yan Zhao was already leisurely studying university-level materials. I asked him why he didn't just skip grades and take the college exams. He said he wanted to experience high school life. I don't like this tutor. Get another one, Lu Yi grumbled. Mrs. Liu elegantly sipped her coffee. It's not for you to decide. As long as Nuan likes him, if you don't want to study, go out and play with your friends. Don't stay home and disturb Nuan's studies. Mom, am I even your real son? I've been wondering the same thing. In what ways do you resemble your father and me? Seeing Lu Yi defeated, I secretly chuckled. After greeting Mrs. Liu, I invited Yan Zhao upstairs to the study. Not long after we closed the door, Lu Yi followed, seemingly having a sudden change of heart, declaring that he wanted to study with us. Yan Zhao and I exchanged glances, not taking his sudden interest too seriously. 13. After forcefully inserting himself between me and Yan Zhao, he devised a new study method. If I had a question, Yan Zhao would explain it to him first, and only after he understood it would he explain it to me. He claimed, this way, the knowledge will stick better. I leaned heavily on the desk and sighed. Lu Yi, wait until you understand before explaining it to me. The dish has gotten cold. Who are you looking down on? I'm not stupid. I just don't want to study. Indeed, Lu Yi wasn't bluffing. He was the kind of person who got it right away. Watching Lu Yi explain the problem to me, I felt like the world was turning upside down. He tapped my head with his pen. Are you daydreaming while I'm explaining this to you? It was quite a moment, a studious person like me being lectured by someone who usually slacked off. I looked at Yan Zhao, unable to suppress a bittersweet smile. He smiled knowingly. What are you looking at? Focus on the problem. Lu Yi leaned over the table, completely blocking my view. A month passed, and Lu Yi was still around, his friends no longer dragging him out to hang out. He insisted on staying home to tutor me. His friends were almost shocked out of their wits. Time flew by, and before we knew it, it was time for the college entrance exams. Lu Ye's improvement was nothing short of meteoric. It was hard to imagine that in his previous life he needed his family to donate a building to get into a university through a sports scholarship. Soon after the exams, it was my 18th birthday. The Lu family threw me a simple and warm birthday party. They invited classmates who were close to me. Everything was almost the same as in my previous life, except this time Yan Zhao was also there. After the dinner party, I walked them to the door. Yan Zhao, lingering at the back, presented a small gift box to me, a birthday gift. I hope you like it. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought those books you gave me were the gift. Isn't it more surprising to lower your expectations before giving the real gift? I couldn't help but laugh. Indeed, his presence was the biggest surprise of all. He was the unexpected that I had anticipated. Open it and see. If you don't like it, I'll get you another. I wondered what a top student would gift. My curiosity piqued. When I opened the gift box, I almost burst into laughter. Do you think it's tacky? I shook my head with a smile. No, I love it. After all, who wouldn't like gold? Yan Zhao laughed too. There are two ways gold can form. One is from the death of massive stars in the universe, and the other is from the collision of neutron stars. Two entwined neutron stars in a timeless stare explode in an instant at the end of their gaze, causing ripples through the universe and scattering gold across the vast cosmos. Such explosions of neutron stars occur once every 100,000 years, making gold a romantic embodiment of the galaxy. I held the gold rabbit necklace in my palm. Is this a science student's idea of romance? No, if it were anyone else, I'd just say gold retains its value. The atmosphere turned subtly profound. Nuanyuan, let's apply to be university together. Holding the necklace, I thought of Lu Yi and shook my head to clear him from my thoughts. After a moment, I replied, okay. I returned to my room and immediately ran into Lu Yi. He makes you happy with a gift, but you won't even glance at mine. Who matters more to you? I felt guilty remembering how he wanted to show me my gift early this morning, which I had declined knowing what it was, a room full of princess dresses. I remember in my previous life when he took me to see it, I was stunned. Lu Yi, are you planning to start a wholesale clothing business? He looked disappointed. You don't like it? I'm 18, not 8. I'm past the age of dreaming, so this lifetime. When he suggested again that I look at the gift, I declined, proposing some other day instead. Nuanyuan, do you like him? His sudden question snapped me back to the present. No, Lu Yi replied, his eyes harboring a depth that I couldn't fathom. If you say it's nothing, then I believe you. He handed me a pitch-black box. Happy birthday, 18-year-old Qin Wan. As I watched his retreating figure, I opened the box. Inside was a key and an address. Driven by curiosity, I suddenly felt compelled to check it out. Half an hour later, I arrived at the destination. As I opened the door of the apartment, I heard my mother's voice. My dear child is home. Tears instantly fell as I entered the room. Everything was as familiar as the home I remembered. Two adorably goofy humanoid robots approached me. My father's familiar voice rang out. All grown up at 18, and still crying. My dear. I burst into laughter amidst my tears and followed them to the dining room. The room was filled with balloons, flowers, and photos of me from childhood to the present. On the table was an unlit birthday cake. A projection appeared on the wall, displaying videos of my childhood birthdays up until I was 8. In the video, my parents sang happy birthday, and I made a wish with my eyes closed. My dad playfully smeared cake on my nose, and I screamed, opening my eyes to smear some back at him, laughing joyously. What did you wish for? My mom asked. Naively, I said, I want to be daddy and mommy's little princess forever, with endless princess dresses to wear. My heart skipped a beat as those blurry memories became clear. I had forgotten I ever made such a wish. Reflecting on the past, it seemed like every birthday wish had come true, except for this year's, which couldn't be fully realized. Thinking back to when I was 18 in my past life, Lu Yi had filled a room with princess dresses for me, bringing a sudden sadness, so that was why he had given me an exaggerated number of princess dresses. Only in this life did I understand his intention, and it made my heart feel uncomfortably full. The video continued. depicting the birthdays they hadn't spent with me, using animated characters to fill in. When it reached my 18th birthday, the animated character of my dad asked me to look for a gift in the room. I followed a path laid with petals to the balcony and pushed open the door leading to the next room. A room full of princess dresses met my eyes. For a moment, it felt like I had returned to my past life, but in that past life, Louis hadn't asked me to open the door to the next room. I had misunderstood his intentions, even feeling that he was indifferent, overwhelmed with guilt. I wanted to see Louis immediately, to tell him how much I cherished his gift, yet when I returned home, I found Louis wasn't there. I called him, and Jiang Ruan answered, "Louis is drunk, come pick him up." I hurried to the bar where Jiang Ruan was, and found Louis completely inebriated. I approached him and tugged at him a few times. "Louis, let's go home." He looked at me with bleary eyes and suddenly wrapped his arms around my waist. The gesture was far too intimate. My eyelids twitched, and I looked at Jiang Ruan, quickly pushing away Louis's hands from my waist to avoid any misunderstanding. "Can't I even hug you?" Louis looked at me with reddened eyes. "What about when you were sick and clung to me?" he added, overwhelmed. I raised my hand to cover his mouth, fearing he would say something more suggestive. I tried to clarify to Jiang Ruan. "Don't listen to his nonsense." Jiang Ruan looked indifferent. "Oh, I've known about these things for a long time." "You've known?" I didn't know whether to be surprised at her nonchalance or at how Louis shared everything with her. "His brain might not be quite right, you should have it checked," she suggested, just as I was about to respond to her personal attack. Once again I heard her say, "He was the one who said he liked me and wanted to pursue me. But it always ends up with me taking the initiative to ask him out. If he's not asking me to teach him how to braid hair, he's having me help him choose dresses." I said I wanted to date him, but he wasn't happy about it. He said he can't start dating early as it would lead me astray. Is he just teasing me? These words once again overturned my understanding. Didn't Louis like Jiang Ruan? I even thought they were already together. 18. It took a lot of effort to help Louis back into the car. He kept ranting, "Qin Wan is a heartless traitor." Considering he was drunk, I decided not to argue with him. I tried to help him sit properly, but he pushed my hand away. "Go find your top student, don't bother with me." Since you only have eyes for him, I really started ignoring him. Then he began to look aggrieved, his eyes reddening. "Qin Wan, you're really heartless, truly leaving me to fend for myself. Haven't I been good enough to you? I worry about you getting cold when it's chilly, and overheated when it's hot. When you were ill and felt insecure, I held you all night long." My arms and legs went numb, but I didn't dare let go, wishing I could take your sickness instead. "Anything you glanced at, I hurriedly brought to you, fearing you'd lose interest if I was too slow. You casually mentioned once wanting a princess dress. And like a fool, I carefully selected them, saving for years until I filled a whole room, but you never even looked at them. Now that you don't need me anymore, you want to run off with another man. Don't think I didn't hear you planning to elope with him to University B, leaving Jiangqing. You're heartless. Why are you covering my mouth? Afraid of me speaking the truth?" I insist on speaking, looking at the driver in the front seat. I felt so awkward, it was as if I really had become a betrayer. Finally getting him back to the Liu household and into his room, he started making a scene again. He sat on the balcony railing, his eyes reddening as he looked at me. "If you dare go with him, I'll jump from here. I won't live." I took a deep breath, pressing my temples. "Louis, what are you doing? If you don't want to be the laughingstock tomorrow, you'd better get down now." "You say I'm making unreasonable trouble, a laughingstock? I'm already the biggest joke." For years I guarded against him as if he was a thief, yet you still flirted with him. You found me annoying for a long time, haven't you? I'm just in the way of your love talks. Fine, I'll die right now and let you be. I'll make it easy for you. Louis, this is the second floor, you won't die from falling. I grabbed his hand to pull him down from the railing, but he shook off my hand and deliberately fell backward in front of me. "Louis." I was horrified as I reached to grab him, but his body's weight pulled me down as well. In the moment we hit the ground, a pair of hands firmly held me in an embrace. Louis landed on his back with a dull thud. Seeing the blood trickling from the back of his head, I felt a chill run through me. Louis, 19. This drama ended with Louis in the hospital. When he woke up, he seemed to remember the absurd thing he had done, even when his parents scolded him, pointing fingers at him. He took it silently without talking back, seemingly much matured overnight. After they left, I sighed and looked at Louis. "I never realized before how much drama you could create. Was jumping fun?" His response was to silently pull the blanket over his face, a complete picture of despair. I suddenly found it amusing again and pulled down his blanket. "The gift you prepared for me. I went to see it last night. And I really liked it, Louis. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Do you really like it? You don't find it childish? I really like it, a lot. He not only fulfilled the wishes of my childhood but also those of my 18-year-old self. I had always longed for my parents to witness me growing up. Louis made me feel as though they truly had been a part of my growth, never leaving my side. Do you like it more than the gift Yan Zhao gave you? Louis's gaze was intense as he looked at me. My heart skipped a beat when our eyes met. His eyes were so mesmerizing. It felt like they were expressing love, even though he was just looking at me. I averted my gaze and nodded. So, are you still planning to apply to University B? He might not want to hear the answer to that question. I asked teasingly, if I apply to University B, are you going to jump off a building again? He turned his face away, ignoring me. Fortunately, when it came time to submit university applications, he didn't make a fuss anymore, but to my utter surprise, I received 2 acceptance letters from University B. Seeing Louis's name on one of them confirmed that the courier hadn't made a mistake. I confronted Louis with the letter. You applied to University B too, as you can see, he said with a smile. Why? I thought you always wanted to go to University A. What do you think? Louis stepped closer, and I instinctively stepped back until I was cornered against the wall. He rested one hand beside my ear against the wall, leaning slightly towards me. His warm breath on my face. Qinwan, why do you think I did it? Heat rushed to my face, and I turned to run. I don't know. His other hand blocked my path, trapping me completely between his arms. Haven't I made my feelings clear enough? I've been a fool for you. You surely don't think of me as a brother, do you? Isn't that what it is? I'm not your type. I used to think my ideal type had to be someone with a big chest, thin waist, and long legs. I thought these criteria were absolute. But they are only for those I don't love. When I fell for you, all those standards shattered. Qinwan, I like you. Only you. My heart raced, filled more with disbelief than shock. Louis, go play this game with someone else. Don't joke with me, or we can't even be friends. I'm not joking. I'm serious. But I don't like you, and I'm afraid to like you, because of a past life. He casually dropped the bombshell. I stared at him wide-eyed. You've returned too. Seeing him nod in acknowledgement, all the grievances in my heart spilled out. Since you also remember your past life, how can you say you like me? So liking me means constantly seeking other women. Louis, you disgust me. Louis wrapped his arms around me from behind, preventing me from leaving. His voice choked with emotion by my ear. There's no one else. There never has been. I've only ever loved you. I've never touched anyone else. All those other women were just a ruse. I didn't understand my feelings for you before. I thought my concern and possessiveness were just because I saw you as a sister. But later I realized it was different. So when the old man suggested we get married, I was happy, but soon I realized you didn't care about me, my scandals, or whether I came home, so I didn't dare touch you, afraid you couldn't accept it. Louis then mentioned the woman who had come to provoke me in the past. He never touched her. It was she who drugged him to gain a position, and he merely turned the tables by switching places with someone else. Let that woman suffer the consequences of her actions. Her plans failed and she lost her dignity. So in a fit of rage and embarrassment, she came to me, trying to drive a wedge between him and me, and I foolishly believed her, not even verifying with Louis before I suggested divorce. You have no idea how heartbroken I was when I heard you wanted to divorce me over the phone. Nguyen, now that we have a chance to start over, can you give me another chance? I didn't respond to Louis because I didn't dare to try again. In the days that followed, I kept avoiding Louis. This avoidance continued until the start of the school term. At this university far from home, the only 2 people I knew were Louis and Yan Zhao. Because I was avoiding Louis, I ended up spending more time with Yan Zhao. But Yan Zhao was also very busy, immediately becoming the darling of the professors, who frequently asked him for help. Even though we hardly found time to meet, Louis would always follow, sticking around like a lovesick puppy, making it impossible to shake him off, his heartbroken gaze making me feel like a betrayer. One day, Yan Zhao suggested going to see a movie. And I agreed. However, my enthusiasm waned when I saw the sci-fi movie about outer space that Yan Zhao had chosen, which I knew was complex and hard to understand. But Yan Zhao was interested, and I didn't want to dampen his spirits. In the cinema, I was drowsy and went to the restroom midway. Just as I left the restroom, I was suddenly pulled into a hidden corner and held tightly, startled. I struggled as my chin was lifted and kissed forcefully, with desperation and no finesse. Nguyen. You are mine, you are clearly mine. I was shocked and angry and worried we might be discovered. I bit his lip hard, and he finally let me go. Louis, what are you doing? He held me, burying his head into my neck, his voice hoarse. I'm just jealous of him, insanely jealous. Nguyen, would you care for me? Just let me hold you for a while. Louis held me until the movie ended, until Yan Zhao called. I pushed Louis away. Let me go. Yan Zhao is looking for me. I had just walked a few steps when Louis pulled me back, biting and sucking on my neck until he left a suggestive red mark. Louis, I said, covering my neck, my eyes red with anger. Nguyen, tell him to go back by himself. October, Louis's birthday. I was still hesitating whether to spend it with him when he called first. I could hear him coughing on the phone. Nguyen, I feel terrible. Can you come and see me? 10 minutes later, I arrived at his apartment. This was supposed to be a place for us to live together, bought by Louis's father, but initially, I decided to live on campus to avoid Louis. I rang the doorbell, but there was no response, so I called him, and no one answered, worried something had happened. I used my key to open the door. What greeted me was Louis, shirtless, wearing only casual pants, his wet hair still dripping water, the droplets falling down his handsome face into his sexy collarbone and chest. I tried to avert my gaze. You didn't answer the doorbell. I was worried something had happened, so I came in. Nguyen, are you worried about me? I choked up. It seems you're not too sick, so I'll leave now. Would you stay and celebrate my birthday with me? I don't want to be alone. My heart softened, and I decided to stay. His birthday celebration was a candlelit dinner, all prepared by himself. The fruit wine he made was delicious. Although it packed quite a punch, his black shirt was unbuttoned at the top. His skin glowing temptingly under the candlelight. Sweetheart, do you like what you see? Want to touch? Seeing that I didn't respond, he added, tell me what you really think, and I'll let you touch. It looks good. I want to touch. He smiled devilishly, guiding my hand under his collar and across his chest. Sweetheart, you like me, don't you? His lips brushed against my ear as he spoke in a seductive whisper. He looked into my eyes, our breaths mingling. The moment filled with ambiguity and intensity. Do you want to kiss me? Say you like me. Instead of speaking, I kissed him on the lips. The next moment, he took control, the sound of kissing and soft moans amplifying in the quiet of the night. During a brief pause for breath, Louis murmured, you're quite cunning, sweetheart. The next day, I was awakened by screams. Upon opening my eyes, I was met with the horrified face of Louis's mother. Louis, I'm going to break your legs. How dare you take advantage of Nguyen when she's so young? Minutes later, in the living room, Louis was kneeling shirtless on the floor. The marks of our ambiguous activities were visible, making me wish I could just disappear. What had I done to him last night? Was I that fierce, hiding most of my face behind a pillow? I listened to his mother scolding him. Actually, I didn't feel taken advantage of. If anything, I was the one who had taken advantage of him, noticing the marks on his wrists. I tensed, and the blurry memories started to piece together. Under the dim light, I was straddling him. Louis's smile was devilishly charming as he handed me his tie, coaxing, sweetheart, say you love me, and I'm all yours. You can do whatever you want. If you're afraid of loving me without feeling secure, tie me up, lock me up, so I can only see you. Sweetheart, say you love me. As if seduced by a devil, I uttered, I love you. He buried his head in my neck with a victorious chuckle. Sweetheart, I love you too. Now it's time for your reward. Filled with regret, I bit into the pillow. Louis's mother brought me back to reality. Nguyen, don't worry, Louis will take responsibility for you. Let's get engaged now, and marry after graduation. How about that? I don't need him to take responsibility. Louis became frantic. Then you have to take responsibility for me. My innocence has been tarnished by you. I'm even traumatized. I can't even think about other women now. You must take responsibility. Why don't you try men? I muttered under my breath. Nguyen. After that, Louis embarked on a year-long journey of being a resentful husband, always letting himself be bullied by me, then asking me for a commitment afterward, and if he didn't get one, he'd complain about being deceived by a heartless woman. It was truly a heart-wrenching, tear-inducing ordeal. Sometimes, in his madness, he would buy various locks for me, lock me up and love me. Okay. I'm truly all yours. What do I need to do for you to believe that? I'm a frugal person. He bought them, so it would be a waste not to try. Once I actually locked him up, he calmed down. Sweetheart, I knew you loved me, but this state of affairs didn't last long. Once Yan Zhao returned from studying abroad, Louis started acting up again. Sweetheart, should I get a tattoo? I'll tattoo your name all over my body. Let everyone know I'm yours. Okay. My eyelid twitched slightly as I thought about it. And my toes began to dig into the ground again. I grabbed his hand and slid a ring onto his ring finger. Mine, Lu Yi burst into tears. I finally have a status now. I promise that from now on, not even a female mosquito will be by my side except for you. On the day Yan Zhao invited me to dinner, Lu Yi showed up uninvited. He was very friendly towards Yan Zhao, but he kept twirling the ring on his finger while talking. After the meal, Yan Zhao gave me a necklace made of meteorite, Nuanyuan. Each meteorite is like the ancient starlight, a symbol of the passage of time. It has witnessed the universe's journey and recorded millennia. I hope it can also witness our future together. Nuanyuan, let's be together. Lu Yi stuffed the necklace back into Yan Zhao's hands. Classmate Yan, you'd better stay with your cosmic stars. Nuanyuan is mine. The next second, Lu Yi carried me away, back at the apartment. On the bed, Lu Yi kissed me while playfully undressing me. Sweetheart. Want to try what a 20-year-old husband feels like? I'll make sure you enjoy it. That joy lasts